this ghost house on the verge of collapsing, just because the owner held a live stream. The next day, Ghost House was completely surrounded, because they suspect that Ryan Chen's ghost house really is ghosts. 6 months ago, Ryan Chen's parents mysteriously disappeared, leaving him with only a failing ghost house. His parents also left him with a black phone and a childhood doll. It seems like they sensed that ghost house was about to close down. The phone, which had been unable to turn on, unexpectedly powered up on its own. The phone eerily displayed the current status of Ghost House, and even hinted to Ryan that by completing the quests provided by the phone, he would be able to upgrade Ghost House and unlock different terrifying scenes. At this moment, the phone issued the first quest with 3 difficulty levels. Ryan Chen's hand trembled as he chose the Nightmare difficulty level quest. Mirror image of you. The acceptance was successful. Reading the quest description, Ryan Chen felt a bit uneasy. In order to find out what will happen in the next 20 minutes, Ryan Chen is preparing for a live broadcast on the spot. In just a few minutes, many people have already joined the live broadcast room. Some viewers in the comments section have sent sincere blessings to Ryan Chen. Other viewers in the comments section are even going to perform rep. The flickering flames have become the only source of light in the darkness. The light stands between the mirror and reality, like a guiding soul lantern. Ryan Chen slowly lowers his head, closes his eyes, and softly recites his name. Ryan Chen, Ryan Chen. The audience in the live broadcast room looked at this eerie scene and quickly turned on the barrage. As time passed by minute, nothing happened. Water droplets from the roof fell to the ground along the water pipe. There seemed to be insects crawling in the sewer, making a rustling sound. In the last few minutes, another person seemed to be in the darkness, also chanting his name. Ryan calculated the time in his mind. The voice in his ear gradually went off key. He could be certain that someone else was calling his name, and that person seemed to be standing right in front of him. Ryan listened to the increasingly distinct voice in his ear. A strange force came from the mirror. There was a jarring sound on the bathroom door panel, as if someone were scratching it with their fingernails. The door seemed on the verge of collapsing, as if it could open at any moment. When there were only 3 seconds left, suddenly came the call from Ryan Chen's mother. Fortunately, Ryan Chen was well prepared and did not fall for it. In the last second, a strong pulling force appeared in the mirror. It was about to pull Ryan Chen in. Luckily, time was up. Ryan Chen opened his eyes and looked at the mirror inches away from him. The mirror was filled with terrifying creatures, all scrambling to crawl out. This frightened Ryan Chen just wanted to turn and run. But at this moment, his legs were no longer under his control. It was at this most desperate moment. With a thud, the mirror shattered. It turned out that the teddy bear left to him by his parents had saved him. The sound of completing the quest rang out, and he also received the quest reward, and unlocked the ghost marriage scene. And he also obtained the skill, Cosmetize the Deceased. She is the school beauty of Zhejiang Medical University, College of Forensic Medicine. Chloe Gao watched Ryan Chen's livestream that night. She came specifically to challenge him. At a glance outside the ghost house, all are human heads. They are all here to denounce Ryan Chen. Watching these people made Ryan Chen very happy. He hurriedly went in with Chloe Gao. On the way in, Ryan Chen began to introduce the predecessor of his ghost house. 50 years ago, it was the largest unmarked graveyard in Zhejiang. 20 years ago, a hospital was built there, but many supernatural events occurred. The hospital was forced to move out, and now it has been transformed into a ghost house. He feels that the atmosphere has been rendered quite well. Ryan Chen then began to introduce the scene story, a long time ago. The royal prince wanted to arrange a ghost marriage for the child who died young. So he invited a fortune teller and eventually selected a girl. But she already had someone in her heart. To force her compliance, the royal prince pushed her lover into the river and used the life and death of the girl's family to blackmail her. In the end, to protect her parents, the girl agreed to marry a dead person. blood candle, and lacquered coffin are both handled in the same room. After the girl is sealed alive in the coffin and buried. Strange things started happening at the royal prince's mansion. The bronze rooster bleeds, and the paper person opens its eyes. Every midnight, a woman always appears in the house. After the introduction, Ryan Chen smirked and said, "You have 15 minutes to find the exit to succeed. If you get scared, just shout 'brother' at the surveillance camera, and I will come to rescue you." Chloe Gao, on the other hand, looked disdainful. She has seen all kinds of corpses in anatomy class. She won't be afraid of just a mere ghost house. On the contrary, Nathan, who came along with Chloe, shamelessly hid behind his senior sister. He said he was not afraid, but his body told the truth. Watching the two figures in the distance, Ryan Chen couldn't wait to open the horror soundtrack that the system had given him. Black Friday. This song really exists. Timid audiences, please do not Google it. Those who have listened to it can share their feelings in the comments section. In the scene, Nathan is listening to this music. He's already starting to feel scared. Looking at the cowardly Nathan, Chloe Gao turned her head and walked away. Mockingly she said, "Don't say you are my junior in school in the future. I can't afford to lose this person." At this moment, the gate of Prince's mansion slowly opened. Chloe Gao walked straight in, while Nathan crouched at the doorway, saying he would guard the rear to prevent ghosts from closing the door and running away. The first thing Chloe saw was a white silk strip less than 1 meter high in the middle of the ceiling beam. The tables and chairs lying next to it. The floor was full of struggling handprints. She looked at all these, clearly not the traces of suicide. All were evidence of being tortured to death. The two carefully searched for clues inside the room. The scene was arranged very meticulously. The atmosphere was tense. Chloe Gao looked at the slightly bulging quilt and asked Nathan to go over and take a look. Scaredy-cat Nathan quickly begged for mercy, saying he dare not. Seeing him like this, Chloe Gao didn't waste any words. She went up and pulled the quilt down without hesitation. A paper figure was lying quietly on the bed, as if waiting for them all along. Its eyes were staring straight at the two of them. They looked closely, and saw the corners of the paper figure's mouth slowly curling upwards. This scared the beautiful elder sister so much that her legs went weak, and she fell to the ground. Younger brother directly channeled the spirit of chicken brother. Sister got up and angrily said, "Do you know scaring people can kill them? Why are you yelling randomly?" After younger brother had just finished saying, "This is what our mom taught us," he was interrupted by his older sister. "What? Do you want to give yourself an extra mommy's boy buff?" The younger brother looked very aggrieved. After Chloe finished speaking, she turned her head and walked away. She pushed open another room. What she saw directly was the floor covered with joss paper and mourning clothes. In the middle of the hall stood a red coffin. A large Chinese character for happiness was pasted on it with white paper. On both sides, there were neatly arranged paper figures kneeling. The paper figures seemed to have lifelike eyes and varied expressions, as if secretly staring at the two people at the entrance. Looking at the coffin in front of her, the sister awkwardly said, "It seems like I just went to the wrong place." She stepped on the edge of the coffin and said arrogantly, "The person should be in here. Come and give me a hand." At this moment, the younger brother's attention was entirely on the paper figures. He said tremblingly, "There's something wrong with these paper figures. I always feel like they are alive." The older sister carefully examined the papers around her. Suddenly, two paper figures smiled at her. The older sister's pupils suddenly dilated in fear. But in order to secure her younger brother's happiness, she had to suppress the fear inside her heart. As they struggled to open the coffin, the paper figures around them drew closer and closer. The little brother was so scared that he just wanted to turn around and run away. The older sister comforted him, saying, "Hang in there. Soon you'll have a wife." The two of them exerted tremendous effort and finally managed to open the coffin. At the same time, the door to the room suddenly closed on its own. Countless jaws paper floated out from the coffin. A creepy laughter came from inside the coffin. The two people were so scared that they sat down on the ground. The bride sat up straight from the coffin. They gazed at the pale, exquisite, and breathtakingly beautiful face. The younger brother broke down first, bouncing up from the ground directly. He left his sister behind, shouting, "I'm afraid of society," as he ran towards the door. The bride laughed and said, "You're in such a hurry. Are you eager to enter the bridal chamber? You even forgot your shoes." Watching the two figures disappearing into the distance, along with the lonely Shu, Chloe Gao, in a state of anxiety, hurriedly ran towards the direction her younger brother had departed. She barged directly into the bridal chamber. The only source of light was a few candles. Looking around anxiously, she couldn't see any trace of her brother. Fumbling in the darkness, she couldn't help but think, could it be over so soon? With a loud clang, she seemed to have bumped into something. She took a closer look and realized it was a mirror. She had not recovered from the shock yet. She saw her reflection in the mirror unexpectedly starting to distort. With a creepy laughter, a pair of terrifying green eyes were staring at her intently. Chloe Gao was so frightened that her eyes widened in anger. She fell to the ground again. She felt as if someone was behind her. She thought it was her little brother. She looked up in surprise. Their eyes met, and a woman in a wedding dress, with a strange smile on her face, was looking directly at her. Under such a huge contrast, Chloe Gao could no longer suppress her inner fear. A scream that shocked both humans and ghosts alike rang out, startling the tourists outside the ghost house. Watching her tremble uncontrollably on the ground, tears soaking the floor, Chloe Gao Ryan Chen promptly halted LSU. She supported the still recovering Chloe Gao as they stumbled to the outside of Ghost House. Ryan Chen, seeing this, puzzledly asked where Nathan had gone. LSU then contemptuously said, "That coward saw his reflection in the bronze mirror and thought he saw a ghost. He was so frightened that he fainted and is now lying on the bench twitching." And weak Nathan kept muttering about the mirror. Suddenly he jumped up and shouted, "There's a ghost in the mirror!" Ryan Chen suddenly remembered. It must be the things in the mirrors from last night causing trouble. He went to the monitoring room to check the footage. He found that Nathan was almost dragged in. Fortunately, he was interrupted by LSU. Ryan Chen quickly covered up all the mirrors in the ghost house. He took out his phone to see if there was a way to find a solution. He then discovered that a new quest had been unlocked, Midnight Hunt. Ryan Chen accepted without hesitation. Because he knew he wanted to find his parents. He had to follow the phone's quest. At the same time, the phone activated the lottery feature. 100 screams could be exchanged for one lottery draw. He looked at the opportunity given and clicked directly on it. He prayed that as long as it wasn't a vengeful ghost, anything else would be fine. The next second, a love letter with only a 3,000th probability appeared. Goodness, he directly drew a red-clothed vengeful ghost. The system also gave him a title. This made Ryan Chen excited to the point of contorting. He looked at the love letter in his hand. His trembling hands were like those of an old grandpa with Parkinson's disease. Inside the love letter, "I like you," was woven with hair. Ryan Chen's scalp tingled, feeling so anxious that he jumped up and said, "Sister, what's wrong with me that you don't like? I can change." At this time, LSU appeared and said, "Both of you have already resolved the issue." Ryan Chen reminded them not to approach mirrors and then left. She watched Ryan Chen's departing figure. LSU suddenly noticed that there were actually two shadows on the ground. After saying goodbye to little Ella, Ryan set off towards the western suburbs to begin his journey in search of the haunted house. However, as he asked along the way, most passers-by had no idea where Peaceful Apartment was located. In the end, he finally confirmed the direction under the guidance of an old man. Then, he carried a small bag on his back and followed the old man's instructions into the mountains. After walking in the mountains for a few hours, He was already panting heavily from exhaustion. Fortunately, he finally saw the legendary peaceful apartment and glanced at his watch. It was 6:50, still early. So he decided to explore the surrounding area further. 2 hours later, he had circled around the apartment several times. As he was about to enter the apartment, a flyer posted on the wall suddenly caught his attention. He took a closer look and found that it was actually a missing person notice. Zoe Zhang, female, enjoys wearing red clothes. Contact address is peaceful apartment, isn't this place? He read through every word on the missing person notice repeatedly. He really wanted to find a breakthrough from it. Just then a voice came. "What are you doing?" into his ears. He looked towards the sound and saw a middle-aged man with a cigarette in his mouth. He was limping as he walked towards him. "Excuse me, are you the landlord? I would like to stay in this apartment for one night." Uncle suppressed his excitement upon hearing that. He immediately asked me to show him my ID. Internally, he was overjoyed. He didn't expect that there would really be fools daring to stay at the hotel. After confirming that there were no issues, the uncle asked him to follow him to the second floor to complete the check-in process. As they passed by the entrance, he closely observed the relatively clean floor. Internally, he made a rough guess that there should be other people living in this apartment. Upon entering the apartment and taking a look, he dismissed his previous speculation. It was so dirty and messy. There wasn't even a single light. Who would live here? Thankfully, the environment improved upon reaching the second floor. Just as he breathed a sigh of relief, he suddenly noticed a dark shadow seemed to be staring at him from behind the door on the right. Mother F*******. This haunted house is really spooky. Viewers, quickly leave an emoji in the comments section and enter the safe room. I'll help you guys carry again. The scary part is about to come out. At this moment, the guide suddenly angrily shouted towards a man in the distance. "Qin Wang! Why are you here again? I told you your girlfriend is not here. If you keep this up, don't blame me for being impolite to you." The guide yelled as he ran up to the man. The uncle immediately slapped away the thick stack of leaflets in his hand. Ryan picked it up and took a look. Isn't this the missing person notice posted at the door? Could it be that this man is also a resident here? He pondered for a moment. He handed the missing person notice to the man. But the uncle told me not to mind him, saying that the man is crazy. The man named Qin Wang looked up and said thank you to me. He took the missing person notice. Ryan stared at his weather-beaten face. He remembered the uncle just calling him a madman. Is he the person mentioned in the quest hint? Ryan watched the lonely man walking away into the distance. The uncle is still scolding the mischievous child. The uncle then handed me the keys with a displeased expression on his face. Don't mind him, young man. That guy is just crazy. I advise you not to get too close to him. Ryan also wanted to ask the uncle about the situation on the first and third floors of this apartment. Unexpectedly, this old man turned out to be disrespectful. He scolded me, saying, "Mind your own business," and then quickly ran off. It seems that when he collects the rent, he turns cold-hearted. However, the landlord actually allowed me to stay. At least it shows that there are no issues on the second floor. In this case, if I want to find out something, he must be going to check the first or third floor. Forget it. I'll go back to the room to rest first, and then we'll talk. But just then, Ryan heard another argument between the landlord and another old man behind him. As soon as he turned around, the voices abruptly stopped. Before he could recover his senses, a black hand suddenly reached out in the darkness and slapped on my shoulder in one swift motion. I turned around and realized it was the lunatic Qin Wang. Qin Wang now had a gloomy expression on his face. He muttered in a low voice, "Young man, you seem decent. You should leave here quickly. This apartment has had a murder case before. If all the viewers don't leave a fun expression in the comments, you'll probably end up like Ryan and won't be able to leave later." Ryan was taken aback when he heard this. He couldn't understand a word of this nonsensical statement. However, Ryan, who had been handed a perfect opportunity, naturally couldn't let it slip by. So Ryan spoke up and asked, "Then why did you still come here?" Quinn Wong stuttered in response. I came because my fiancée went missing at Peaceful Apartment. After she disappeared, the police told me her last location was at Peaceful Apartment. But when I got here, the police said she wasn't here. However, I know she must be here. Look, this is my fiancée. She must have had an accident. Otherwise, she wouldn't disappear for no reason. Quinn Wong became more and more agitated as he spoke. Then he pulled out his phone and shouted at me, "I have been monitoring this apartment. She must have been kidnapped by someone here." Ryan took a closer look. There were indeed multiple distress messages on the phone. Quinn Wong looked on. He did seem to have lost his mind from the shock. He held the phone, tearfully muttering to himself. Immediately, he muttered again. "I will find you," he said before leaving. Ryan watched his retreating figure. He always felt this guy was a bit strange. He mentioned so much about his fiancée, but never asked if he had met her. It seemed like something out of a crazy story from a dark cell phone. Just as he was lost in thought, a woman suddenly appeared behind me and blew a long breath directly into my ear. This sudden move scared Ryan out of his wits. His hair stood on end as he coughed and screamed incessantly. "Oh my! Are you a human or a ghost? Where did you come from?" Hearing this, the girl just laughed and replied, "You handsome guy sure knows how to joke. Of course I'm human. But I've been living in this ghostly place for 8 months. I haven't even seen a ghostly figure. It's driving me crazy." After seeing the newcomer's appearance clearly, Ryan's face instantly turned red. "Girl, why are you dressed so revealing? What are you up to?" "But I like it." The girl, however, replied off topic. "All right, little brother. Sister won't tease you anymore. Don't wander around. Go back to your room early. Also, listen to sister's advice. Never go to the 3rd floor." After saying that, she directly closed the door and went back to her room. Damn it, she actually dares to seduce me. But why is everyone telling me not to go to the 3rd floor? I must go tonight, Ryan thought. Just got back to the room. His phone in his pants suddenly rang. Ryan took out his phone to check, and it turned out that it was a message from Nathan. He urged me to send him a video tonight. Nathan is really both inexperienced and loves to watch. However, this did remind Ryan. It's not appropriate to live stream here, isn't it? Online friend can also help me call the police. Hey. Maybe this live stream can bring more traffic to Ghost House again, attract more subscriptions. How about you? Why not click the subscribe button? Once the decision was made, Ryan replied to Nathan's message, asking this guy to pay more attention. Ryan opened the live stream. Hello. Friends online, our adventure in today's live stream is starting. Exploring a haunted house in person. Just 3 minutes into the broadcast, the popularity of the live stream surged by over 1,000. Indeed, I am worthy, Ryan thought excitedly. The YouTuber glanced desolately at the subscription count of this channel and sighed. Alright, grab my big hammer. Now we can set off with Ryan. Let me introduce you all. This place is called Peaceful Apartment. The apartment is located deep in the mountains in the western suburbs. It's a famous haunted house. I searched for information about the apartment online. 5 years ago, a fire occurred here, resulting in a family of 4 perishing in the blaze. The tenants on the 1st and 2nd floors of the apartment all managed to escape. Only the landlord and his family on the 3rd floor were unable to get out. After investigation by the police, it was determined that the fire was deliberately set. However, the culprit has not been caught yet. In addition, after I arrived at the scene, I found even more strange things. Before Ryan could continue his introduction, he was suddenly interrupted by a noise behind him. He turned around in confusion and saw a figure appearing at the staircase on the third floor. Faced with this eerie scene, Ryan Chen the Mjolnir naturally had to go up and take a look. Besides, he was still live streaming. Since he had come, he must let his online friends have a thrill, right? Timid buddies, quickly tag one of your friends. Or leave an interesting emoji, and head to the safe room first for safety. After the walls on the third floor were burned, they were not renovated. The air is filled with a musty smell mixed with the smell of burning. It's really unpleasant, and the windows have been sealed with wooden boards. It's almost comparable to Ryan's adventure house. Online friends began to stir up trouble in the comments section after seeing this scene. He couldn't help but tighten his grip on his Mjolnir. This group of online friends is really hard to deal with. Okay, stop warning them. I will reveal my discovery right away. The tenants in this apartment seem to all have their own secrets. They seem to be hiding something together. Also, I found out that after the landlord of the peaceful apartment passed away, this house should have been given to the landlord's father. And today, the one who received me was a man in his 40s with a limp. This clearly doesn't match up. Before Ryan could continue the analysis, online friends had already started their detective mode. Ryan feels very gratified by this. It seems that internet friends are very supportive. Just as Ryan was still feeling emotional, he seemed to have stumbled on something under his feet. He looked down and was instantly stunned. How come there is a cloth doll here? Online friends saw this cloth doll and started causing trouble again. Some even want to buy it and take it home. But all 3 floors have been burned like this. How is this cloth doll preserved so well? Could it be that it survived the fire by itself? But when he took a closer look, this doll is indeed quite cute. Did you say you survived the fire by yourself? Of course, the doll definitely couldn't speak. Instead, there was another sound coming from behind him again. Upon closer listening, it seemed like someone was approaching. The newcomer turned out to be the unkempt lady and the landlord with a limp. The landlord, smoking a cigar, said to the woman, "There have been more people coming to the apartment recently. We need to hurry up and get rid of that thing." Upon hearing the woman say that the new tenant wants to go to the 3rd floor, the landlord was greatly surprised. He even choked for a moment. Immediately, he nervously said, "We can't delay any longer. Remember to bring tools. We will dig it out and bury it in the back mountain later." Ryan, who was hiding not far away, listened to their conversation very clearly. Hey, online friends, there will be a good show to watch in a moment. The scene shifted. The landlord and 2 others had already arrived in front of a curtain. The chubby boy holding a shovel is obviously very scared. He is worried that if he gets involved, his fingerprints will be left behind. He suggested leaving it to the FBI to handle. The landlord was instantly furious when he heard what he said. He quickly grabbed his collar and angrily said, "Are you crazy? Are you asking for trouble? Listen to me. We are the ones who have confined the old man. We just moved into this apartment. If the FBI comes, none of us can escape." The unkempt woman quickly stepped in to smooth things over when she saw the situation. "We are all in the same boat. Let's not ruin the harmony. Fatty, just listen to my husband." The 2 of them then separated. Immediately the landlord handed the pickaxe to the fatty, asking him to give it a try. Then he pulled the curtain open, and the next second, a body embedded in the wall suddenly appeared before their eyes. Ryan was shocked into a state of utter stupefaction. Ryan quickly pulled out his phone and messaged Nathan for help calling the FBI. However, the unhelpful fellow replied with just one sentence. "Who are you?" "Heck. Nathan, this jerk. Next time I must teach him a lesson." So Ryan had to turn the live streaming camera inside. He hoped that his online friends could help. He nervously watched the movements inside the house, while explaining the details to his online friends. The chubby guy was frantically swinging the pickaxe at this moment, while also complaining about his bad luck. The messy girl next to him, although feeling uncomfortable as well, still spoke up to comfort him. Before long, a body inside the wall suddenly fell with a thud, falling towards the chubby guy and scaring him to the point of peeing himself. No wonder these people kept emphasizing not to go to the 3rd floor. So that was the reason. But sorry about that. I was live streaming the whole thing. At this moment, the 3 people inside the room have already wrapped the body in cloth and are carefully moving it. Watching these people, Ryan couldn't help but grit his teeth. They are really a bunch of desperados. Not only did they imprison the old landlord, but now, in order to continue living here, they even chose to help the murderer cover up the body. Just then, the phone suddenly rang. I was so scared that I let go of it instantly. Hello, I am from a short video company. I watched your live broadcast. I think you have a lot of potential, etc. Fuck you, you're the one with potential. In a moment of desperation, he directly caught the falling phone with his legs. Immediately, he angrily shouted at the phone, "I'm not interested." However, he seemed to have forgotten the current situation. They looked at each other in silence, both dreading the sudden quietness in the air. The situation became awkward for a moment. Ryan now is feeling extremely flustered in his heart. "Oh haha. You guys are still awake." Ryan politely greets you. But what he got in return was a flying dagger. At that time, the dagger was only 0.1 centimeters away from Ryan. But before he could say the next line from the movie, "Love you for 10,000 years," the landlord and 2 others rushed up with weapons in hand. Ryan faced these desperate fugitives. He was afraid that in the next second, he would also be buried in the wall by the 3 men. Fortunately, he took advantage of being young. He still managed to shake them off. But the situation did not allow Ryan to rest. Although he was already tired to the point of seeing stars, he still had to continue running. After all, considering their momentum, they would not give up on chasing him. After half a day's journey, Ryan pushed aside the weeds in front of him and saw a wooden cabin. He guessed that this should be the forester's house and planned to hide inside for a while. He pushed open the door, accompanied by the sound of a bell ringing. Ryan quickly shouted, "Is anyone there?" But the room was messy and did not look like anyone lived there at all. Looking at the clothes of the woman on the bed, he couldn't help but feel puzzled. This place is so dirty, how could there be? Could it be? It's the house where the female corpse in the wall lived. At that moment, a cell phone suddenly fell to the ground. Instantly caught his attention. He picked it up and took a look at the content on it. He recalled the words spoken by the lunatic Quen Wang during the day, which filled him with extreme fear. He is the only one who doesn't live in the apartment, yet he always appears near the apartment. Could it be possible? Is this small cabin his base? Where 3 villains live? And an apartment with a corpse. A lunatic who carries missing person ads every day. I got it! I know who the murderer is. Ryan suddenly had a flash of inspiration. At the same time, there was a sudden sound outside the door. Ryan looked back. It was Quen Wang holding a machete. Quen Wang, at this moment, looked completely different from before, appearing quite manic. He mentioned that since he had been spotted, they should not leave the safe house unless accompanied by a friend. Seeing his appearance, Ryan's guess was confirmed. It really is you, you madman. You killed your own fiancée. Quen Wang did not make any excuses either, no more pretending. I confess, I am the one who bricked her into the wall with my own hands. But this is not my fault. I just wanted to keep him forever. I did it because I loved her. You all don't understand my love. She is flawless, like the purest lily. I am so lucky to have her. Even if she marries me, there are still so many people who want to pursue her, want to take her away. And I, even if I become the humblest reed, be careful and cautious, take every precaution, but still feel like walking on thin ice. I thought of a way. A way to make her stay by my side forever. When she is most beautiful and loves me the most. Seal her by my side forever. That way she will only belong to me. Ah ha 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 ha. After hearing his creepy and twisted words, Ryan's spine grows ever colder. I cannot reason with this lunatic. I must strike first. Qin Wang stared at me as if I were prey, licking her lips ominously. Since you've discovered me, I can only let you stay here. Rest assured, I am very quick with my hands. Afterwards, I will use cement. Without waiting for him to continue his bluffing, Ryan directly threw out his Mjolnir, roaring, "You still want to bury me? You are dreaming!" Struck hard, Qin Wang still had the nerve to accuse me of being despicable. With someone twisted like you, what rules need to be followed? Without giving him time to react, Ryan once again wielded Mjolnir and struck down fiercely. Ryan successfully knocked Qin Wang down, unable to move. The scene changed, and police cars had arrived at peaceful apartment. He witnessed the arrival of the police officers himself. He finally breathed a sigh of relief. He hurriedly greeted them. "I was the one who called. Uncle, I found a female corpse on the 3rd floor of the apartment. I also caught the murderer. They are inside now." The next day, Ryan once again arrived at the police station. After a conversation with the captain, he also learned about the developments from last night. Qin Wang and several other tenants in the apartment have been caught. The old landlord has also been successfully rescued. Ryan's face lit up instantly when he heard the news. Does that mean my quest is complete? Before Ryan could bask in the moment, Captain Lee continued saying, "That fake landlord is fled. He's the most wicked of them all. We are worried that he might come back to seek revenge on you. Be careful during this time. If you notice anything unusual, contact us immediately." Looks like there was still an accident. But Captain Lee, you don't need to worry. If he dares to come find me, I will help you catch him and bring him to justice. Time goes back to this morning. At this moment, Ryan is still lying in bed, checking the progress of the quest on his phone. Yesterday, he went to the police station and was lectured by Captain Lee until early morning. He came back and fell asleep directly. The completion rate of the quest is unexpectedly at 90%, which is quite good. He continues to swipe the screen. Huh? What is this? Congratulations on receiving Qin Wang's missing person notice. Introduction of the props. Every day I am searching for the person I killed myself. She always seems to find me every morning. Her belongings always end up on my bed. I clearly bricked her into the wall, but it's as if she has burrowed into my heart. Is this why Qin Wang keeps running back to the apartment? We really don't understand the world of lunatics. But is this fucking considered a reward? It looks more like a punishment given by the system. Just when Ryan was complaining about the black phone, LSU suddenly ran in from outside. "Boss, you appeared on TV." The girl is as excited as if she were on TV herself. She just blew my mind. Turn on the TV, the news headline is on. A breaking news report about the capture of the criminal at peaceful apartment is now being broadcast. Ryan also received a new title, Enthusiastic Citizen. "Boss, this person is you. I recognized at a glance, it must be you. This is my first time. The first time seeing someone I know on TV. Seeing LSU praise herself like this, Ryan can only show off a little too." Just at this moment, the phone rang again. I took a look and it turned out to be a notification for the new scene setup. It's not that amazing, is it? Can Adventure House automatically set up scenes too? With a turn of the picture, Adventure House, 3rd floor. Looking at the refreshed layout in front of him, Ryan couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. One evening, and the entire 3rd floor is changed. This is like saving on renovation costs. After a brief stroll, Ryan discovered that the internal structure of this new scene was similar to that of the peaceful apartment. An atmosphere of unease and pain pervaded the area. Dozens of traps were installed throughout. Many rooms were interconnected, with several hidden macabre Easter eggs inside. It was crafted to be exactly like the real thing. He hit the jackpot this time. Since that's the case, little Ella, upgrade the equipment. Add a new scene, and now we're open for business. Ella Shu was also excited at the news. This girl has probably been eager for this for a long time. Half a block later, outside Adventure House. Looking at this line stretching for several hundred meters. I didn't expect that after 2 live streams, the ghost house effect is actually so good. In just a few days, I will be able to meet the requirements for expanding Ghost House, Ryan thought. At this time, another prompt popped up on the phone. Congratulations. You have won the costume of the skull-crushing doctor. Item description. Clowry worked in a mental hospital for 20 years. Due to his long exposure to patients, his mental state was deeply tormented until one day he decided to end it all. Sickness and madness seeped into his marrow as he gripped a large hammer. He wanted to cure his patients fundamentally. The props arrived just in time. This new prop can be combined with a new scene perfectly. It should be very interesting. Just then, Nathan suddenly called. Although I was annoyed that this guy pretended not to know me before, it was thanks to him finally calling the FBI that I was not surprised. Ryan didn't expect to make the school bell cry last time. His schoolmates are unexpectedly planning to come in a group for revenge this time. Listen to what Nathan said. They should be on their way here now. I must give you guys a good lesson this time. Ryan smirked to himself. However, before he could figure out how to deal with them, a big man suddenly appeared behind him. Looking back, it was indeed the Flower Protection Squad arriving. They sure act fast. Perfect timing. I will use you guys to help me try out a new scene. After a quick decision, Ryan immediately put on a smiley face. Haha, welcome. I have been waiting for you for a long time. I hope you all have fun on this Adventure House trip. At this moment on the 3rd floor, the 3 foolish guardians have entered a new scene. Looking at the layout around them, middle part guy couldn't help but ask in confusion. Why isn't this the ghost marriage courtyard? Nathan also looked puzzled. Only big guy, who was walking at the front, seemed indifferent, saying, Who cares? My sandbag-sized fist is no joke. Before he could continue boasting, the radio broadcast began. The theme for this adventure is Midnight Hunt. Please do not take photos or videos inside the scene. Do not physically assault the actors, blah blah blah. The exit is hidden within the scene, with a time limit of 20 minutes. If visitors can't bear it anymore, they can shout, Gidge, at the surveillance camera. I'll take you out. Only Nathan, who has experienced it once, seems to have taken Ryan's words to heart. The other two still look disdainful and indifferent. Then let's use the special item we just obtained. Let me teach you a lesson. Ryan, now wearing divine equipment, brandished a powerful hammer. I have to say, this hammer is really powerful. This time, the hammer is indeed Mjolnir. Carrying it, Ryan felt like he was Thor. Before long, Ryan found the location of 3 Foolish. 3 Foolish also noticed the commotion behind them and turned around. With just one glance, 3 Foolish instantly let their guard down. Hey, weren't you just full of confidence? Still daring to compare international gestures with me? Fuck. Watch me give each of you a blow. Under the pressure of the skin, 3 Foolish completely lost the courage to resist. They could only escape in embarrassment. Haha, satisfying. Unexpectedly, the next second, Nathan, this foolish young man, actually turned around and ran towards Ryan. Oh my goodness! Big bro. I'm done playing. There's an evil doll chasing us over there. Are there real ghosts here? Ryan also looked confused when he heard this. Where did this evil doll come from? So Ryan forced Nathan to take him to the front of the evil doll. Isn't this the doll picked up in peaceful apartment? Ryan secretly wondered. How did it follow me back? Just as Ryan was puzzled, his phone notification rang again. New message. Congratulations on triggering the unique hidden quest of Midnight Hunt. Please fulfill Small Mia Yin's wish. Once completed, ghosts and creatures will be at your disposal. I have to say, this black phone sure knows how to play. Is this doll just Small Mia Yin? It seems to be attached to the resentment of a victim from peaceful apartment. Then I should catch the fake landlord and make sure he receives the punishment he deserves. Would that fulfill your wish? Ryan wondered. Boss, I feel like when you were just speaking, the doll's eyes seemed to light up. Ryan looks at the introduction page on his phone with some favorable impressions. Perhaps it was his recent words that made a difference. Huh? After seeing the interface on the second page, Ryan's temper flared up again. If I'm not mistaken, he said. This is the female ghost who sent a love letter to Ryan. Fortunately, both ghosts currently have some affection for Ryan. There's no immediate threat. Just need to work hard to elicit screams from the visitors. Or Ryan can complete the affection quest to resolve the situation. In the future, he will have these two teammates to help him. Completing other quests will also be easier. In the future, this will be your home, Small Mia. Don't run around. Be careful not to be stepped on by someone. Ryan saw a clock doll and laughed foolishly. Nathan couldn't help but visualize 10,000 alpacas running through his mind. However, he couldn't help but move closer. Boss, I wonder how my two senior brothers are doing. It was only then that I realized I almost forgot about the other two silly guys. At the same time, a scream came over. Nathan said that it was indeed the voice of middle part guy. But Ryan couldn't help but be suspicious. How did this guy end up in the grocery room? After they arrived on the 4th floor, they only saw middle part guy dancing wildly alone in the room, shouting, "I'll fight you!" Is this man insane? Clearly, there was no one around him, but he was so scared that tears welled up in his eyes, swinging a chair around frantically. He also pointed at the mirror and shouted that there was something dirty inside. Looking at the shattered mirror, Ryan also understood what was going on. It seems that the thing from before can still appear randomly in other mirrors. Ryan decided to first take care of the guys in front of him before doing anything else. Game over. Nathan, you take your senior brother out. After Ryan saw off the three foolish guardians, the phone rang again with a notification tone. Due to a recent increase in popularity, Adventure House has met the conditions for expansion. This is finally some good news. However, his top priority is still to first find a way to deal with the things inside the mirror. They seem to be able to attach themselves to people. If it's not dealt with sooner, it will really affect the business. Just as Ryan was thinking hard, he suddenly caught sight of Captain Lee in the distance. So Ryan hurried forward to ask about the situation, and listened as Captain Lee spoke. They found that Jason Zhang had recently appeared in the surveillance footage of the amusement park. He came this time specifically to investigate this matter. Captain Zhang is worried that Jason Zhang will come to retaliate against me. Ryan then gave a domineering reply. This guy is pretty brave, but Captain Lee, you can rest assured. As long as he dares to enter Adventure House, I will make sure he won't leave. I'm looking forward to him coming to find me early. Hee hee. If I can use him to lure away the things in the mirror, then won't I be over the moon if Ryan's little plan in his heart works out perfectly. After Ryan sees off Captain Lee, LSU immediately rushed up. Boss, what's going on with the police officer looking for you? I evaded her question and told her we were closing early today. You can leave work early. I have guests coming tonight and need to prepare in advance. Time passes quickly. It's midnight. By now, Ryan is fully armed. He sat quietly in the control room waiting for the fish to take the bait. Before long, Jason Zhang appeared on the screen. Upon seeing this, Ryan promptly called Captain Lee to inform him that the target had appeared and they were ready to take action. After Ryan's meticulous preparation, Jason Zhang's route had all been pre-designed. Other rooms were sealed off, forcing him to approach the room where the mirror was step by step. The hunt begins. I hope you won't disappoint me. The scene shifts to inside Adventure House. At this moment, Jason Zhang is cautiously advancing in the dark. This room is eerie, but thankfully I am brave. But once I take care of that kid, this will be a good hiding spot. At the same time, a dark figure suddenly appears in front of Jason Zhang. He immediately brandished his knife with a malicious grin when he saw the figure and rushed forward. Ha ha ha, Ryan Chen. You destroyed my apartment. This time I will definitely kill you. But the next moment, his smile instantly froze. With a stab, the figure in front of him disappeared directly. This eerie scene instantly left him at a loss. He looked around, thinking his eyes were playing tricks on him. After confirming that the figure had indeed disappeared, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Oh my goodness, did I just see a ghost? Just as he began to doubt his life choices, Ryan stealthily approached him from behind, wielding a big hammer. You are not mistaken. Just now, that was me, Ryan Chen, your grandpa. With one blow, Jason Zhang fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Even now, his mind is still full of question marks. Damn it, how could this Ryan Chen be so mysterious? A direct hit, but Ryan didn't rush to continue striking. He just stood still and stared at him. When Jason Zhang struggled to get up, Ryan continued to walk closer. Don't run, I didn't use much force with that hammer just now. Jason Zhang is a cripple to begin with. After taking a hit with a hammer, his movements became even slower. Ryan, on the other hand, was slowly trailing behind. It wasn't until he saw him enter the trap room that Ryan stopped in his tracks. Jason Zhang, hiding in the room, thought he had shaken me off. Little did he know, in the room he was in, there was a big surprise waiting for him. Jason Zhang looked at the ghostly figure in front of him. Jason Zhang instantly wet his pants. No time for him to react. A ghostly figure in the mirror reached out a red rope and tightly bound him, and in no time, his fat body completely disappeared into the mirror. Just as Ryan was watching with great interest, Captain Lee suddenly rushed over with his men. Ryan pointed inside the house and shouted, "He's in there!" But when he turned around, he saw Jason Zhang, the creep, jumping out of the window. He was trying to escape. Captain Lee and the others immediately turned around and chased after him. They told Ryan to stay put and not act recklessly. But how could Ryan just stand by? The current Jason Zhang is not the same as before. The monster in the mirror is now walking with him. Seeing the blood words suddenly appear on the mirror, Ryan was at a loss. He didn't understand what the number 2 meant. But now, with the human and the ghost combined, he needed to find some help. Small Miain, I can communicate with it normally. Unfortunately, this doll can only act cute, with 0 combat power. Isla Zhang probably noticed Ryan's distress. She directly sent me an invitation. This ghost might be more powerful than the monster in the mirror. If I could get her to help me, then it would be stable. There is no other way. Ryan can only choose to accept Isla Zhang's invitation. Just clicked on OK, a bunch of new notifications popped up. Please arrive at the meeting place within an hour. West City Private School. And you need to find Isla Zhang's red dancing shoes before dawn. Don't be late for your first date. Headache. Ryan didn't expect his first date with a girl to be at midnight. Isn't this a little too exciting? Suburban midnight. I took a taxi to West City School. The driver couldn't help but ask when he heard the destination. Young man, what are you going to do over there so late at night? Ryan answered honestly that he was going on a date. The experienced driver immediately revealed a meaningful smile when he heard the words. He straightforwardly said, "You young ones really know how to have fun." However, along the way, the driver still frequently turned back to sneak a peek at me. Ryan didn't notice the distress signal in the car until he got off. He then realized, no wonder the driver was so playful. That's true, showing up alone in the middle of the night at this creepy place for a date. Who would believe that? Looking at the gloomy teaching building in front of him, Ryan was unexpectedly a little anxious. He decided to go all out. Since he's here, he can't stand up a beautiful girl. The most likely places for red dancing shoes to appear are the dormitory and the dance changing room. Well, then he should just go directly to these two places to take a look. Pushing the door open, Ryan was instantly shocked by the scene in front of him. In the empty corridor, there was only a chair quietly placed there. What the heck? It seems like someone is sitting there, waiting for Ryan. Don't worry. My girlfriend is a big shot in this school. I am here to have a date with her. Who would dare to mess with me? However, upon hearing Ryan's muttering, the chair seemed to be dissatisfied and started swaying from side to side, as if in protest. Ryan watched in astonishment. It's okay, he reassured himself. It must be the wind causing these strange things. I just need to avoid provoking them. Ryan comforted himself as he slowly felt his way forward. It wasn't until he saw a sign that read, "No entry," that he finally stopped. This must be the place. There's no smoke without fire. I really must go in and take a look with Ryan today. Ryan smashed the wooden block blocking the entrance with a hammer. He was once again stunned by the scene inside. What is this again? Fortunately, he grew up drinking poisoned milk powder since he was a child, so he is courageous. He shouted, "Be brave, cow," before going in. After seeing the scene inside the room, Ryan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It turns out it was plaster statues in an art gallery. They looked pretty scary at first glance. However, the environment here is quite eerie, although it's far from Adventure House. After bravely exploring for a while, the only thing left for Ryan to inspect was the door in front of him. Something seems off about this school. I'd better find my shoes quickly and make a run for it, Ryan thought to himself. When he pushed open the door and took a look, he was surprised to find 3 chairs inside the room. In the moonlight's reflection, he could still make out different names written on them, just as he was contemplating their significance. Suddenly, there were a few girls' laughter coming from inside the room. At the same time, several ghostly apparitions appeared next to the chair, staring at Ryan with sinister smiles. It seemed as if they were saying, "Hey handsome, come and play with us." Upon seeing such a bizarre scene, Ryan couldn't help but swallow hard. Damn it, stay calm. As long as he didn't provoke them, he should be fine. No pain, no gain. Ryan forced himself to stay calm and walked into the room. He cautiously approached the photo wall, speculating that he might find some clues there. In the photo, there were 5 people, but one person had been blurred out. For girls, 4 chairs. If each chair represents a girl, then what happened to all of them? And the girl who was painted over, is she Ryan's girlfriend Isla Zong? Before he could guess further, the chairs behind him started to sway again. This time, 3 chairs danced at the same time. The sudden strangeness made Ryan's hair stand on end. However, he still suppressed his fear and shouted back, "What's all this ghostly noise? Stop moving! Believe it or not, I'll take you apart." Ryan's unexpected shout actually intimidated them. This boosted his confidence, and he strode over with a big hammer in hand. As he approached gradually, the figures of several girls became more and more distinct. Just as he was about to reach the chair, a phantom suddenly burst into tears, wailing miserably. At the same time, the body also began to shake rapidly. Feeling eerie at close range, Ryan couldn't help but stop. He was very puzzled about what was going on. The next second, he suddenly realized something. Is it because I just called Isla Zhang? Oh no! The wind swiftly tore past. But before he could take another step, several chairs quickly surged forward, instantly forming a surrounding formation and trapping Ryan within. Damn it! Do you really think I'm a pushover? Ryan was truly driven to urgency by this situation. He raised a big hammer, ready to fight back against them. But before he could swing the hammer, reality defeated him. Several pairs of nimble hands firmly held Ryan down. The doorway was also blocked by a chair. Ryan, whose fate was being choked, could only feel a moment of difficulty breathing. He could still vaguely hear them saying, "Let's go find someone who doesn't like and subscribe to play games." Cough, in great danger. Ryan had to try shouting his girlfriend's name, Isla Zhang. Unexpectedly, his friends heard his shouts, and actually let him go. Maybe their strength was too great. I took a long time to recover and still felt my throat clogged. But he saw his friends looking terrified and distorted, while he was stunned. Could it be something behind him that was still strangling him? Something that even his friends were afraid of? Upon looking in the mirror, he was instantly stunned. He saw a figure with flowing hair, extremely eerie yet hauntingly beautiful. It was hovering around his neck in the air. Is this Isla Zhang? The beautiful figure did not hurt me, but leaned close to my face, at the same time pointing a finger at the mirror. I think she wanted Ryan to see something. Ryan followed her finger and looked over. The image in the mirror changed unexpectedly. At this moment, there were 5 girls dancing gracefully in the mirror. It should be Isla Zhang and her 4 best friends. However, at this point, they still looked like human beings. Standing at the very back, the girl, presumably Isla Zhang. Why does she feel a bit out of place? Looking at these scenes, Ryan suddenly realized that Isla Zhang might want me to understand what happened here before. But don't say more. The dancing girls are really innocent and beautiful. Ahem, let's focus on the important matters. In the picture, Isla Zhang actively tried to share candies with other girls, but they rejected her. These girls seem to be intentionally excluding her. Isla Zhang looks quite pitiful at this moment. At this moment, a letter suddenly dropped out of her backpack. A girl with quick eyes and quick hands picked up the envelope. Soon after, a few people started arguing. At the same time, a middle-aged man also appeared in the picture. The man is probably a teacher. As soon as he entered, he asked Isla Zhang to go to his office with him. Before long, Isla Zhang came back looking nervous. At the same time, it seemed like her clothes had been tugged at, and the teacher was chasing after her from behind. After Isla Zhang entered the room, she asked several girls for help. However, they all remained indifferent. This made the man even more ruthless. He showed a twisted expression and pounced directly. Isla Zhang could only frantically retreat. Intense fear made her unaware that behind her was already a dead end. Ultimately, this led to her accidentally falling off the building. This is the scene that Ryan saw on his phone initially. So that's how it is. The fat man forced Isla Zhang to death, and then forged her as his own. The silence of the other girls also indirectly led to her tragic ending. In the end, the victim became the taboo of the campus. Red dancing shoes, red and white school uniforms. Even her name became a topic that others could not discuss. I got it. Isla Zhang. I know all your stories. Rest assured, I will help you. At this moment, Jason Zhang and Mirror Ghost unexpectedly showed up. It turns out that this guy has been secretly following Ryan since the last escape. With Mirror Ghost's help now, he clearly has more confidence. He said that tonight, he would settle old and new scores together. But the next second, he was startled by Isla Zhang, who appeared behind me. Balfour was speechless, obviously recognizing the Mirror Ghost. Isla Zhang opened her red eyes and stared fixedly at these 2 troublemakers. She seemed very dissatisfied with the remarks Jason Zhang had just made about her boyfriend. Under the suppression of the aura, Jason Zhang was scared and kept retreating. He couldn't believe that Ryan actually had such a powerful helper. Jason Zhang, oh Jason Zhang, you always show up at just the right time. I just recognized my girlfriend. And you are in a hurry to come out seeking excitement. Just as the words fell, Isla Zhang roared out aggressively. The poor limp immediately collapsed upon seeing this and ran away. It's true that fear can really unleash one's potential. Ryan found himself unable to catch up with the speed of the limp for a while. But with Isla Zhang around, Ryan wasn't worried. He took out his phone to inform Captain Lee. After Old Lee received the call, he couldn't help but blame me for fooling around. That Jason Zhang is so dangerous. Haha, you can rest assured that I will take care of everything. I just happened to encounter Jason Zhang while handling things, and I even discovered a new case. For years ago, that girl from West City School fell from the building. It was not an accident. There is another hidden reason for her death. Ryan heard the surprised voice of Old Lee on the phone. Ryan went on to say, "Let's discuss this case in detail when we meet. First, come over and arrest Jason Zhang." Just after hanging up the phone, Ryan saw Isla Zhang coming back. I didn't have time to ask about Jason Zhang's situation. Just saw her pointing in a direction, seemingly wanting Ryan to go over there. Following her guidance, he arrived at the equipment room's entrance. It seems like this is the place. He pushed open the door. Instantly felt a piercing coldness washing over him. Isla Zhang let him in. There must be something hidden here. After searching the entire room, he noticed a cardboard box placed in the corner. Upon moving it, he found it filled with dance shoes. Could it be that more than just Isla Zhang was murdered? Ryan pondered as he searched. Soon he successfully found the pair of red dance shoes. This matter shouldn't be so simple. Isla Zhang, rest assured. I will investigate the truth and bring you justice. Just as he finished speaking, a series of new notifications sounded. Successfully finding the dance shoes quest is 50% complete. Isla Zhang's affection towards you has increased to. You are the one. You can make a wish to her, as long as it does not go against Isla Zhang's wishes. This last message is simply delightful. It was worth my heart pounding all night. I have already thought of my wish. That's it. I wish Isla Zhang will always listen to me. I never expected that. Ryan has just entered the wish content. The phone sounded an alarm saying that it violated Isla Zhang's will. Please change it. Am I not handsome enough? Ryan wondered. This YouTuber tells you directly, of course, you are not as handsome as me. I hope Isla Zhang will protect me from harm. I lost. I hope Isla Zhang does not harm me. Do not have murderous intentions towards me. That should be possible, right? Ah. This damn thing. This won't work either. It seems Ryan's wife is quite rebellious. Tried many times without success. I can only put this matter on hold for now. Captain Lee's phone call just came in. He said they have already arrived at the school. As the scene switched, by the side of the road, I explained everything I saw and heard tonight to Captain Lee. Captain Lee indeed teased me after listening, saying, "Little Chen, why do I feel like wherever you go, there's a case waiting for you?" He saw Ryan losing his edge. He then continued, "All right, no more jokes. Rest assured, if what you said is true, we will definitely bring justice for the victim." Meanwhile, a police officer ran over and reported to Captain Lee that Jason Zhang's whereabouts were not found in the vicinity. Captain Lee looked slightly surprised before. He quickly regained his composure. "Ryan Chen, I will arrange for someone to take you back. We will continue to search nearby. After you return, please don't run around everywhere." Ryan could only obediently agree to Old Lee's instructions and hastily raised his hand to make a promise. When he returned to Adventure House, it was almost dawn. Looking at the grayish sky, Ryan couldn't help feeling emotional. If he had to go on this kind of quest a few more times, even if he wasn't killed by the ghost, he might just exhaust himself first. But fortunately, the gains were not bad. The quest was successfully completed, and he also became closer to Isla Zhang. Although she is a bit rebellious, at least she is pretty good to me now. I found that the glass of the window in front of me was actually broken. Was it a thief who got in? Then, I discovered through my phone that Jason Zhang was hiding behind me. This guy is really clingy. The next second, Jason Zhang wielded a knife and stabbed towards me. Fortunately, I discovered him first and dodged his attack in time. The sneak attack failed. Jason Zhang instantly became furious. You are as slippery as an eel. But this time, let's see who else will come to help you. I also got angry when I heard that. This crippled guy has tried to kill me several times. I am prepared to take ruthless action as well. Attack first to gain the initiative. I hit him square in the face with a hammer. I thought I had succeeded, but I didn't expect that after I hit him with a hammer, he could still stand. I took a closer look and found out that it was actually Mirror Ghost who helped him block the hammer just now. Can't do this, can't handle 2 against 1, time to retreat. The situation is not good, I have to make a quick exit. But how can one outrun a ghost? I saw Mirror Ghost flash past, and the next moment he appeared in front of me. In an instant, he knocked me down. I, who was pressed to the ground, could only raise my hands to resist with all my might. Misfortunes never come alone. Jason Zhang, this creep, saw me still struggling on the verge of death. He then raised the knife and stabbed towards me. Your mother is lost. Am I really going to die here this time? In a critical moment, I can only seek help in desperation. Just randomly tapping on the phone. I can't believe I stumbled upon success like a blind cat encountering a dead mouse the next second. Suddenly, countless red lights emerged from the phone, just like a tornado destroying a parking lot. In an instant, it filled the entire room. The sudden turn of events left me dumbfounded. As the red light gradually dispersed, Isla Zhang's figure suddenly appeared in the air. At this moment, Isla Zhang's long hair was waving, blood trickling from the corner of her eye. Her eerie giggle seemed extremely sinister. But in my eyes, she shone like a dazzling angel. The savior has arrived. Before I could say anything, Isla Zhang's long hair pierced into Mirror Ghost's body like a sharp sword. Just by hearing its howls of pain, one could deeply feel the heart-wrenching agony. Jason Zhang also got scared and stopped in his tracks when he saw the scene. What kind of ghostly thing did you summon, kid? This is too scary. I didn't pay attention to this curious baby's question. This guy almost got me killed just now. I approached him with a heart full of anger and a big hammer in hand to smash him. With a crisp sound, I successfully smashed this creep away. I watched Jason Zhang lying on the ground and not getting up. I couldn't help but let out a sigh, finally resolved it. On the other side, Isla Zhang also dismantled Mirror Ghost into pieces. I looked back and couldn't help but be shocked. I saw that Isla Zhang had completely changed her art style at this moment. She was stuffing 2 dark objects into her mouth. She was chewing noisily and with relish. It felt as if she was enjoying a sumptuous feast. Halfway through the meal, a loud burp signaled the end of the battle. Watching this scene, I couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. How does it feel like this girl hasn't had enough to eat yet? Suddenly, a black shadow swiftly passed before my eyes. When I came to my senses, I only felt a sharp pain in my eyes. It seemed like something had flown into my eyes. After looking in the mirror for a long time, I didn't find anything unusual. Oh well, it must have just been a mosquito. I sat down in a corner and took out my phone. I told Captain Lee about the news of Jason Zhang being arrested. Old Lee scolded me again after hearing that, but finally it was over. I hung up the phone. I just felt weak and collapsed against the wall and fell asleep. The next morning, I was already back in bed. The aftermath of Peaceful Apartment has been cleaned up. The issue with the mirror has also been resolved. Next, we can start thinking about expanding Adventure House. Oh well, I'll go back to bed for a little nap. When I wake up, I will talk to Uncle Shu about renting the basement. I hadn't even closed my eyes for 2 minutes when my phone rang. It was a call from Ella. What happened to little Ella? She didn't open the door in the morning, and now she's working in the afternoon. Boss. Wake up quickly. Many police officers and journalists have come to Adventure House. Did you do something wrong? I jumped up at the words, puzzled by the dense crowd of people outside the door. Boss, why don't you turn yourself in? I feel like this has already become a big deal. Fuck your mother, what first? I'm fine, I'll come down now. I quickly cleaned up and just opened the door to go downstairs. I saw a chubby police uncle walking towards me. You are Ryan Chen, I am surnamed Yen. I got to know your situation from old Lee in West City. Haha, Captain Lee. I was puzzled by his words. I have no idea why this chubby uncle is looking for me. I hope nothing serious has happened. Who knew that the fat Uncle Shoe Tai pulled out a box from behind and loudly called the nearby media to come closer. Then, under my puzzled expression, he started his speech. Comrade Ryan Chen assisted in the capture of the criminals from Peaceful Apartment and provided crucial clues. I now represent the organization to present him with the honorary medal. It turned out to be a public commendation for me. What a relief. For something that can increase the popularity of Adventure House, I naturally can't resist and accepted the medal with a smile. I even intentionally struck a few more poses. After that, Ella Shu came over and showered me with a flurry of compliments. Give it a rest. Just now you were the one encouraging me to be honest. Go cool off on your own. Uncle Shu is coming to find me. After dismissing little Ella, I started discussing my idea of renting a warehouse with Uncle Shu. Uncle Shu was originally not very agreeable. After all, the foot traffic at the amusement park is extremely dismal now. The next door is about to build a virtual amusement park. He's worried that I might be jumping into a fire pit. But after my repeated insistence, he finally agreed to help me contact the chairman to explain the matter. In no time, he returned with the contract. It seems that the chairman agreed very readily. After arriving at the basement, I looked at the huge area. I couldn't help but squeal with joy. In the future, we can set up new scenes here. Wait until the scenes gradually take shape. The turnover is still not taking off. I can already imagine the scene of the pinnacle of life. Ha ha ha. No more words. Let's get straight to work. I just need to pull out the scene on my phone screen, and it will appear in the corresponding area in reality. I have to say this setting is simply too user-friendly. It's directly virtual mapping reality. Midnight ticket booth. Soon the ticket booth was built, with functions introduced. Midnight ticket booth has a 1 in 1,000 chance of attracting special visitors. These visitors may become your allies. Can you play like this? Does becoming an ally mean you can recruit them as members of the Adventure House? Without waiting for me to think more, little Ella's exclamation came in. It turns out that this girl saw a suddenly appearing building and felt very confused. So I casually made up a reason and said that we had just hired someone to build it last night. From now on, that will be our territory. This girl is easily fooled. She just believed my nonsense directly, and even praised how great it was. Then she took out her phone. Boss, many hot search topics are about your photos now. And there is news about our Adventure House too. Just as I was about to look closely at my handsome photos, I suddenly received a system prompt. The first special guest has appeared. I looked around. The sun was shining brightly. It's a bit outrageous to go out at this time with ghosts and creatures about. At the same time, a mother and child appeared behind me. Hello, boss. May I ask if there's a half-price ticket for children? I turned around and was instantly captivated by the child in front of me. I saw that the boy was emitting black smoke all over his body, which looked extremely eerie. Is he the special visitor? To ensure nothing goes wrong, I cautiously brought him to the ghost marriage scene with a 1-star horror rating. I didn't expect him to come here. Even the campus belle of the medical university was scared and peed herself. He seemed to be in a real amusement park. He was having a great time, and he even specifically headed towards the spooky places. His parents were terrified when they saw him like this. His parents hurriedly stepped forward and pulled him back. At this moment, LSU, dressed as the ghost bride, happened to appear, giving the parents a big fright. The little boy, on the other hand, upon seeing LSU in her makeup, excitedly moved forward to hug her, as if he really liked her. I watched the two people happily playing in the distance. I couldn't help but sigh. This child is really special. The parents also mentioned the reason. Since her parents had an accident a few years ago, she has become like this. Even seeing a psychologist hasn't helped. LSU was stunned when she heard this and said, "Aren't you her mother?" I am Aunt Fan of little Leo. Both of little Leo's parents are teachers at Twilight High School. Years ago, they suddenly disappeared. So little Leo has been with me since he was 5 years old. But I have never dared to tell him about his parents' disappearance. After seeing off the tourists, LSU can't help but reminisce about what just happened. That child is really interesting. Not afraid of me at all. He even held my hand and looked for things in the scene. I looked at her in confusion. LSU continued saying, I asked him what he was looking for. He said he was looking for heaven. The first special visitor has left. You made the right choice during this time. Congratulations on unlocking the hidden trial quest, Twilight High School. Screaming Index 2 stars. After experiencing all 4 branching quests in this scene, and still surviving, you can unlock the scene. Quest prompt. Arrive at the quest site before 2300 hours today. Survive until dawn. Quest requires that everyone has a deep and unfathomable well in their hearts. The well is buried with unspeakable and unbearable memories. Looking at this series of new notifications, I felt a chill down my spine. With no additional requirements, just to keep me alive until daybreak. Seems quite simple. In reality, it is far more dangerous than Midnight Hunt. Immediately I chased after the direction the two people had left. I need to gather more information from them. The boy is the initiator of this trial quest. There must be clues to the quest on him. But when I arrived at the roadside, the two had already prepared to get on the car. I couldn't make it in time, so I had to flag down a taxi. I asked the driver to follow the direction of the bus. As the scene changed, I had already followed to the door. Looking at little Leo's parents with a puzzled face, I hurriedly explained. I am the owner of Adventure House. Just now, I heard you talking about little Leo. Suddenly I thought that I happened to know a psychologist. Maybe he can help take a look at him. Unexpectedly, she became even more cautious after hearing that. Sometimes silence is better than words. With a sudden inspiration, I reached out and took out the newly acquired medal. I explained it once again. After checking the medal, Aunt finally let her guard down. Come in. Little Leo is sleeping in the room. I can tell you about his specific situation first. According to Aunt Fan's description, 3 years ago Twilight High School had not been closed off yet. Little Leo's parents went to the school in the rain to look for their lost son. It was on that rainy night when little Leo's parents went missing. According to Aunt Fan's analysis, their bodies are very likely hidden inside the well at Twilight High School. And throughout the whole process, little Leo may have been a witness the entire time. Upon hearing this, I also understand why little Leo has become so reclusive. But I couldn't help but ask one question. Did you adopt Leo Fan because you don't have children of your own? After hearing my question, Aunt Fan directly broke down and cried. I was completely caught off guard by this. She actually had 2 children before. It's just that they died when they were very young. Upon hearing this, I quickly got up and awkwardly apologized. I immediately changed the subject. Fortunately, you and Leo Fan can still rely on each other. This has helped alleviate her sadness. After half a moment of silence, the woman suddenly got up and walked towards the storage cabinet behind her. It seemed like she was looking for something. She began speaking while searching. My brother took a very strange photo the day before the incident. It was taken in a restricted classroom at Twilight High School. There are rumors that the classroom is very sinister. There are rumors that the ghost of a crematorium worker attends classes in there. There are also rumors that a worker was killed inside. My brother had too much to drink the day before the incident, so he stayed overnight at the school. From what he told me, he encountered a group of students as he passed by that classroom, who pulled him in to take a graduation photo together. When he woke up, he was holding this photo in his hand. I looked at this picture. I also feel that the content on it is very eerie. The students in the photo are all facing away from the camera, and they are all standing on tiptoe. Aunt Fan pointed at the photo with a serious expression and added, "I checked. Twilight High School didn't take any graduation photos that day. My brother and sister-in-law must have been killed by these ghosts." Just then, I suddenly noticed Leo Fan hiding behind the door with a creepy expression on his face. His eyes were fixed on me, and his mouth slightly open. It seemed like he wanted to say something to me. Aunt Fan saw him coming out and immediately greeted him with a smile. She introduced me to him as Brother Chen, who had just been to the amusement park. Leo Fan still didn't speak. Instead, he reached out and handed me a note. I opened it and saw that it was a painting. Vaguely, I could see that it was a black house. The red part inside should be a person. Aunt Fan also became a commentator at this time. This child usually doesn't like to go out, always hiding in the room by himself. He likes to draw when he has nothing to do. If the doctor you mentioned can help little Leo improve, then it is really. Thank you so much. I put away the drawing paper, replied that I would contact the doctor to come over as soon as possible, so I'm ready to go back. After walking out of the neighborhood, I was thinking back on what just happened. I always feel like there is something wrong with that woman. But for a moment, I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Closed classroom, mysterious water well, and the painting of a little boy are all inside that black house ghost? My head hurts. It seems like my trip to Twilight High School tonight. It must be super dangerous. Forget it. Let's just make the best of it. This silly male lead. He actually went to the haunted school alone in the middle of the night and live-streamed himself playing the pen ghost game with a seemingly confused mind. And the next second, he got scared out of his wits. Ahem, just kidding. Let's continue. In order to complete the horror quest announced on the phone, I had to rush to Twilight High School before midnight. When I tried to get a taxi to take me there, several taxis refused to drive me upon hearing the destination. It was a rainy night in the middle of the night. After much effort, I finally found a car willing to send me nearby. However, after arriving at the destination, the driver threw away the cushion I sat on and ran off. It seems like this place is really spooky. But for the future of Adventure House, I had no choice but to bravely enter Twilight High School. Upon stepping into the school, my phone immediately displayed a new notification. In addition to the main quest of surviving until dawn, there are 4 side quests: the 5th stall in the haunted bathroom, the water well, and the sealed classroom. To successfully unlock the scene, you must complete all quests. Looking at each one is comparable to a Nightmare Quest side quest. I can't help but feel overwhelmed. Are they trying to push me to my limits? While it's not yet midnight, I must quickly complete the side quests. Considering that the sealed classroom may be the source of the supernatural, I chose to check out the dormitory building first. Just arrived at the dormitory building, I was immediately drawn to the first room. Under the flashlight's beam, I could vaguely see a desk in the dorm room with paper and pens on it. Upon closer inspection, I saw that the paper had writing on it. It said, "When will I die and how? Who will be next, etc." It seems like this is the site for the Pen Ghost quest. Hello, online friends. I am about to start live streaming. Today, let's play the Pen Ghost game. Those who are timid can mention a friend to watch together. Comment with an interesting emoji for good luck. I am currently in a female dormitory at Twilight High School in the western suburbs. It has been closed off for many years, so the environment may be relatively old. However, the paper and pen on this desk are quite new. It seems that someone played the pen ghost game here later. Without much ado, I will give it a try too, haha. After a brief introduction, I sat down and began the summoning ceremony. I won't disclose the incantation here, so that the audience can try it themselves. As the incantation was recited, 3 apparitions suddenly appeared around the table. Feeling the chill beside me, I sneakily glanced over and broke out in a cold sweat instantly. Damn, how come 3 of them appeared at once? The next moment, 3 pairs of dark hands quickly reached out towards me. Immediately, my hand holding the pen was out of control. It was as if it were being held by the dark hands. Automatically, it drew circles on the paper. Regarding this bizarre scene, I had to console myself that the pen ghost had heard my call. So, I forced myself to stay calm and asked the question, "Do you know where my parents have gone?" Just as the words fell, the pen in hand made a sound of breaking. I'll go. Is this problem too difficult? Or shall I ask a random one? Let's finish this quest quickly. Can you tell me, pen ghost, who will be my future wife? This time, there were no more accidents. I saw the tip of the pen moving slowly on the paper. I stared at the gradually forming characters. But I was once again stunned. Shu, could it be LSU? Before I could even laugh out loud, the pen stopped moving again. I could clearly see more and more cracks appearing on it. Before long, the whole pen completely shattered. This sudden turnaround, it made me dumbfounded and stiff. It didn't give me time to react. Countless red lights instantly covered my eyes. When I regained my senses, a shadow resembling Isla Jean has appeared in front of me. Unreasonably, the coercive little ghosts changed the answer to the question, erased the character that was just written, and replaced it with Isla Zhang's name. That's right, this spirited young man is me. I'm speechless looking at the answer on the paper. The girl named Isla Zhang is my ghost girlfriend. I never thought that she would get jealous just by playing a simple game. However, I dare not say much about this. I can only recite the spell disappointedly, ending this game of pen ghost. Although there was an accident, after this turn of events, the popularity of the live stream room unexpectedly surged to as many as 20,000 viewers. This is what they call turning a mishap into a blessing. A viewership of 20,000 has broken my previous record. When will my YouTube channel reach 20,000 subscribers? Thank you for your support. However, I would like to remind everyone, the content of the live broadcast is purely for entertainment purposes. Please do not imitate it. After completing the pen ghost quest, I plan to finish the quest in the 5th stall of the restroom. There are 3 hours until midnight. I should have enough time to finish the remaining 3 side quests. As I was contemplating my quest plan, my phone suddenly rang. I picked up the phone curiously, wondering who would still be contacting me at this hour. A voice came through. It turned out to be Chloe Gao's dad. He mainly wanted to check on Leo Fan's situation. Yes, he is the psychologist I recommended. Upon learning the caller's identity, I immediately greeted him warmly. I then proceeded to share Leo Fan's age and basic information with him. This little boy particularly likes dark places. Unlike in the sunlight, he appears very active at Ghost House. And he is also very interested in the actress dressed as a female ghost at Adventure House. After listening to my introduction, Professor Gao's voice suddenly became serious. He indicated that Leo Fan may have bipolar disorder, a condition often characterized by destructive behavior and self-isolation. As for the changes that occurred at Ghost House, it is very likely due to something different about your Ghost House. He really hit the nail on the head with that statement. I instantly understood the reason for the situation. The biggest difference between my Ghost House and the outside world is that there are actually ghosts in my Ghost House. In other words, Leo Fan likes to come to Ghost House because he enjoys being with ghosts. The cause and effect became clear. However, I suddenly felt a cold shiver down my spine. I recalled the painting that Leo Fan handed to me in the beginning. There are many red tiny figures living in the black house. Now it looks more like the room they live in. If the previous guesses are correct, are all these red tiny figures? Are they all ghosts? Leo Fan's parents were killed on a rainy night a few years ago. He was an eyewitness at the scene. The killer definitely had no reason to spare him, knowing the truth. Unless the killer knows Leo Fan or Leo Fan himself is the killer. The more I deduce, the more absurd it becomes. So much so that I forgot I was still on the phone with Professor Gao. I was startled by his sudden greeting. After coming to my senses, I exchanged a few words with Professor Gao. I mentioned that I would take Leo Fan to see him when I have the time, then ended the call. Unknowingly, I arrived at the dormitory's bathroom. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the restroom. I counted from left to right, 1, 2, 3. After confirming the location of the fifth stall, I didn't hesitate and opened the door directly. The next second, the scene inside the door shocked me. I saw only the walls of this stall. The walls were covered in a dense pattern of eye motifs, giving off a very eerie feeling. After scanning carefully for a few rounds, I discovered a rather unique pattern. Upon closer inspection, I unexpectedly noticed two tiny figures hidden inside. It seems like the person in compartment 6 is peeping into compartment 5. Recalling the description of the black phone, a red figure always appears in compartment 5 at midnight. However, besides this concealed pattern, I haven't discovered any trace of the red figure. Do I need to wait here until midnight? Roughly guess the completion conditions of the quest. I reached behind and pulled out a big hammer. Let's confront it head on. No matter who comes, they will be met with a hammer first. I hid in the 6th compartment and took on the role of a creep. It's my first time being a creep, and I want to backstab the ghost. It feels a bit exciting to think about. Not long. I heard hurried footsteps outside the door. But through the eye pattern, I saw an unexpected scene. Two little brats ran into the 5th compartment unexpectedly, and those eyes on the wall disappeared. This is a bit awkward now. How did the red shadow turn into kids? If I hammer down, won't I be bullying ghosts too much? Suddenly, I realized something again. Could these two kids be the siblings mentioned in another quest at the deep well? Could it be? Are these two children Aunt Fan's kids? But why are they here then? They seem to be hiding from something very scary. As expected, the next second, a red figure appeared in the 5th compartment. Seeing this red figure, the two children cried even harder. Meanwhile, hiding in the next compartment, I took everything in my sight. Directly swinging the sledgehammer, I smashed through the walls of the compartment. I closed my eyes and shouted wildly, swinging the sledgehammer frantically. Immediately, I only heard a crisp muffled sound. I successfully hit the red ghost shadow. The red shadow, when hit, actually revealed its true form. But it seems like it hasn't fully manifested. The ghost shadow lay on the ground crying for a few moments, then immediately sprang up, rushed out the door, and fled. Seeing this ridiculous scene, I couldn't help but be stunned. Has this guy forgotten his own identity? He really embarrassed the face of ghosts. The girl behind is still crying, making me extremely irritated. I directly yelled at them. What are you crying for? They are all ghosts. Stop pretending to be victims. When I shouted, even the boy next to me started crying. It seems like I am the ghost. I was just about to ask a few questions gently. The two children ran out crying. No matter how loud I shouted, I couldn't stop them. In a flash, they ran out of my sight. Heaven knows, they were just acting all pitiful moments ago. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared. I kept complaining as I chased after them in the direction they vanished. Soon, I arrived at a rundown office. Were these two little rascals intentionally luring me here? I circled the office and unexpectedly found Leo Fan's backpack on the desk. So, this place should be Leo Fan's father's office desk. To hear what Aunt Fan said. After being rejected by many schools, Why did Leo Fan end up at Twilight High School? What was the reason that led to him being excluded from all regular schools? This teacher, who is already a father, turned out to be a perverted voyeur with nothing better to do. He loves to sneak into the stalls of the women's restroom to peek at students using the toilet. I am chasing two ghosts. I followed them to an old office. I happened to find Leo Fan's father's desk. However, just as I was about to see if there were any new clues here, I was suddenly shocked by what was in the drawer. Multiple letters accusing Leo Fan's father. The contents on them really refreshed my understanding of this respectable teacher. In other words, the person peeking in the sixth compartment is Leo Fan's father. These 3 letters and notes are all different, indicating that at least 3 people know about his dirty habit. Teacher Fan left these notes in order to identify these individuals through their handwriting. However, the strong tone in the letters doesn't seem like something a victim would write. Could it be that they were the ones who threw Teacher Fan into the well? On that rainy night, Teacher Fan and his wife disappeared at the same time. It's hard to imagine a group of students could make 2 adults vanish without a trace. The letter also mentioned a girl. The writer wanted Teacher Fan to apologize to her. So, if I can find her, all the problems will be solved. After some analysis, once I found a breakthrough, I encountered a new difficulty. The girl may not even be alive now. Finding her will undoubtedly be very difficult. The clues were lost, so I had no choice but to head to the sealed classroom. I planned to complete the other 2 quests before midnight. However, this quest is not easy either. The most rumored story about this classroom is that during a school outing, the bus had an accident and everyone on board died. However, people passing by later claimed to see students attending class inside. Next, I will reveal the truth for everyone. As I entered the classroom, I found that it was no different from the other classrooms, just a little quieter. After further exploration, I suddenly found a desk with paper and pen on it. I leaned in for a closer look, only to discover densely written words on the desktop. From the content, it seemed to be written in the tone of the girl who was being spied on. It appears that the moving eyeball in the bathroom left her with a deep psychological trauma. I carefully read each word. Accidentally, I pushed the pen on the desk off the tabletop. The next second, a hand reaching out from under the table suddenly appeared. It caught the pen that was about to fall. I naturally took the pen from the hand of Ghost and absent-mindedly said thank you. It wasn't until I straightened my back that I belatedly realized what that hand was all about. The more I thought about it, the more guilty I felt. Cold sweat unconsciously broke out from my forehead. In the end, courage triumphed over fear. I tightly gripped the large hammer and turned around to shout, "Who is it?" At a critical moment, the phone alert rang again. The classroom where no one had ever entered before. People crowded in as soon as it was midnight. This damn alert. It plunged me into endless fear again. Damn it, it's almost 12 o'clock now. Once midnight arrives, heads start nodding. This is a fatal clue. It plunges me into infinite fear again. Damn it, it's almost 12 o'clock now. Sure enough, before I could react, ghostly apparitions began to appear one after another on the seats beside me. As time gets closer to midnight, these apparitions become more and more distinct. Seeing so many ghost shadows, I couldn't help but feel a bit discouraged. I hesitated and decided to leave the classroom. It seems like this quest full of ghosts won't be completed. However, I hadn't taken 2 steps when I heard someone behind me calling my name. The sound of Ryan Chen almost made tears run down my face. Damn it! Today is so bizarre. I turned around, hoping not to come face to face. At midnight, inside an empty classroom with no one around, you suddenly hear someone calling your name from behind. What kind of experience is this? It is still pouring rain heavily at this moment, with lightning and thunder. My heart has turned cold. I muster up the courage to look back. I only see a black figure wearing a cloak. It is standing still, staring at me. The next second, the black figure took off the cloak and revealed their true identity. The person who came turned out to be Leo Fan and Fan. They said they specifically came to rescue me. I believe you. Ghost, who the hell comes to this ghost place in the middle of the night to rescue me? But I still showed a look of doubt on my face. Aunt Fan took out a painting upon seeing the situation and explained that this was painted by Leo Fan today. I think this little black figure is you. I was worried, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect to actually find you here. I stared at the painting in her hand and asked in confusion, is there any difference between the black figure and the red figure? The red figure represents Ghost. It's the first time I've seen the black one. It might represent a person. Listening to Aunt Fan's analysis, I also confirmed my earlier speculation. She really knew about Leo Fan's secret a long time ago. Seeing me remain silent, Aunt Fan began to explain again. I know you may not believe it, but actually, before Leo Fan's parents had the accident, I knew that Leo Fan could see ghosts. At that time, my husband and child had just passed away in a car accident. Every time I cry while looking at photos, Leo Fan would show me his drawings. Inside the black house, there are two red little figures painted. Leo Fan said those two figures are his younger brother and sister. I pretend not to believe it. Children's drawings don't mean anything. Aunt Fan helplessly reached into her clothes. She then pulled out a painting. In this picture, it's the well that has claimed many lives. The ghost inside the well is about to break free. And you have been targeted by them. If you don't leave now, something bad will happen. Believe me. Hurry, leave now. The last sentence clearly has a heavier tone. I remained silent for a moment. I also very cooperatively indicated that this place is indeed quite creepy. I don't plan to stay any longer. I then called Aunt Fan to go home together. It's good to have a companion on the way. Unexpectedly, this woman is ruthless. She took out a dagger directly and wanted to punish me on the spot. However, she didn't expect that I was already prepared. I raised a big hammer in response. Fear the young and strong, especially when I am using a big hammer. I sent this creep flying with just one swing. I knew you were up to no good when I was at your place. This forged painting of yours is too low quality. If my guess is right, you are the one who killed Leo Fan's parents. Aunt Fan seems extremely embarrassed at this moment due to the sudden turn of events. However, she insists that she did not kill anyone and blames it all on Leo Fan's father. I was secretly delighted to hear this. This woman indeed knows the truth. She is shifting all the blame to someone who has already passed away. Do you think this will clear her name? As expected, after hearing my questioning, Aunt Fan confessed directly. She admitted that Leo Fan's father had a particular fetish. As a result, he drove a girl crazy at this school. This later led to the girl feeling unbearable humiliation and committing suicide. Since then, the father became paranoid. He started being suspicious, always saying that someone was trying to kill him. Gradually, his wife couldn't bear it anymore. She wanted to divorce Leo Fan's father, and if he didn't agree, she would expose his fetishes and crimes to the public. Leo Fan's father was worried about ruining his reputation. So, on that rainy night, he first hid Leo Fan in the office. Then he lied to his wife and went out together to search. When Leo Fan's aunt found him, she happened to see him cleaning the school well. She walked closer to take a look. She unexpectedly saw Leo Fan's mother's body stuck at the mouth of the well. And at this point, it's clear that her father has gone mad. He saw the ugly truth being uncovered. He even directly threatened his own younger sister, claiming that either she helps him hide everything, or they will be silenced together. This teacher is a pervert. He is obsessed with voyeurism in the women's restroom every day. This ultimately led to the female student feeling disgraced and choosing to end her own life. As the saying goes, the truth will eventually come to light. Soon the wife also discovered her husband's perverse habits. In order to prevent his misconduct from being exposed, he The man actually chose to push his wife into a deep well with his own hands. And this scene happened to be witnessed by his sister. However, this sister is not a good person either. She knows her brother will not let her off easily. So she considerately sent her brother to see his sister-in-law. The reason why she acted so decisively is even more important. After her brother disappeared, she became the only close relative to her eldest nephew. Due to a car accident not long ago, her husband and children all passed away. So, she naturally treated her nephew, who could see the souls of her children, as her own. After listening to her statement, I felt my scalp tingling. I have encountered even the most ferocious ghosts before, but such cruel siblings, it's my first time. Unable to control myself, I sternly questioned her. Have you ever considered your nephew Leo Fan's feelings when you do this? Living with the murderer of his own father all along. No wonder he developed bipolar disorder at a young age. And all of this is caused by you. The situation has not settled down yet. Just as I was teaching Aunt Fan, the lights suddenly came on in the classroom behind me. I caught a glimpse from the corner of my eye and saw Ghost teacher lecturing at the podium. The students below were listening attentively. Aunt Fan also noticed the changes in the classroom at this time. She couldn't help but show a frightened expression. Just as she was about to speak, I immediately stopped her. I didn't give her time to react. I decisively grabbed her and stepped on the accelerator. We didn't stop until we were far away from that mysterious classroom. Aunt Fan looked back towards the direction of the classroom, still feeling lingering fear. From the moment I entered the school until now, they have never attacked me actively. Perhaps what lingers in that classroom is not a malevolent spirit. Maybe they are still protecting this school. The scene changed. I walked out of the teaching building with Aunt Fan. The pouring rain continued to fall, as if weeping for the stories of this school. Captain Lee also arrived with people at this time. That's right, I called them to come for help. After seeing me, Old Lee couldn't help but comment, "Ryan Chen, you're something else. 3 emergency responses in a week, all because of one person. You've really broken a record." I could only awkwardly laugh upon hearing this. Then I immediately explained the situation to Captain Lee. There's another suspect in the dried-up well in the back mountains. You can ask this lady for the specific location. After understanding the situation, Captain Lee immediately arranged for his subordinates to seal off the scene. The forensic pathologist quickly arrived at the dry well and successfully extracted 2 sets of skeletal remains. With this, the Twilight High School quest also came to a close. The next day at noon. I just woke up after being tired all night. I am about to go grab a meal. The phone notification just rang. I didn't expect that just going through the motions would count as experiencing a side quest. The new scene that was unlocked is indeed a bit confusing. I am very satisfied. Don't give away things for free. Setting aside the thought of having a meal, I rushed eagerly towards the new scene. So far, Adventure House has 3 thrilling scenes. The newly unlocked Twilight High School is a branch of the 4-star scene. The area is equivalent to twice the size of a typical 2-star scene. Arriving at the scene, it is indeed very spacious. Dormitories, bathrooms, enclosed classrooms, and other venues are all included. Just some slight layout changes. I soon discovered other differences. I saw only a closed classroom. Surprisingly, there were several sets of school uniforms. Could it be that new ghost spirits can be captured here as well? Boss, you finally came. Some guys came looking for trouble. Early in the morning, I heard Ella Shu's complaints when they arrived at Adventure House. I looked over when I heard the sound. I saw a short winter melon with 2 hooligans looking at me maliciously. They even threatened that my Adventure House is also a counterfeit. Turns out they're competitors, huh? If they want to fight, they should just say so. You don't need to play these fancy dirty tricks. Seeing me being so straightforward, the 2 hooligans also don't intend to keep pretending. So today, let us 2 brothers take a look. Boss Chen, How scary is your so-called Zhejiang's most terrifying ghost house? I should say that my luck is really good. Every time I upgrade the scene, I can encounter the white mice that come to me on their own. Since you two are so righteous, please come in. Before we start, don't forget to sign the liability waiver. After all, I won't be responsible if you really scare yourself later. Entering the room, the two hooligans remained calm and composed. They even joked that Ella's shoe is really pretty. It was not until I opened the trapdoor to the basement that they realized where they were headed. The two of them only realized that something was amiss. They were very puzzled as to why the scene was underground. However, these two hooligans do have a few tricks up their sleeves. Just hesitating for a moment, they both successively walked into the basement. Upon arriving at the scene, Chong Mao immediately turned on the camera, ready to record the process of raiding the place. After they go out, they directly upload it online. This way, after tourists watch the strategy, most will only come once. I have to say, this creep is really cunning. Unfortunately, what he doesn't know is that the ghost house they are challenging this time does have ghosts in it. As the hooligans continued deeper into the place, the two soon arrived at a closed classroom. Looking at the school uniforms on the desks, Chong Mao was sure that there must be something mysterious inside. Just as the two were about to go in and find out, the door of the classroom suddenly opened. Despite the lack of airflow in the enclosed space, not only did the door open by itself, but it also kept creaking and swinging back and forth. Looking at this eerie scene, Chong Mao couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. However, he quickly regained his composure and shouted, "This must be a trick! Someone is playing tricks on us!" But the big guy behind him was obviously intimidated. "How about this? I'll wait for you at the door." "That won't do. Don't forget why we're here. You got scared by a little commotion. What kind of fake are you putting on?" Chong Mao also felt angry at his cowardly appearance. He left a sentence behind and walked into the classroom on his own. He picked up the school uniform on the table and examined it carefully. He didn't see any trick for a long time. He casually threw the school uniform again. But the big guy was not so calm. He screamed again. The sound wave was so loud that nearly scared Chong Mao to death. He was about to turn around and scold a few words. But he saw the big guy turn pale, trembling, and pointing in one direction. "I just saw it there. There's someone in this table. She just gave me a stare with her eyes." Shocking words. Looking at the neatly placed school uniform on the table, Chong Mao also began to panic. "Brother Zhu, did you pick up this school uniform and put it on the table? What do you mean by picking it up?" Upon hearing his companion's denial, Chong Mao instantly felt a chill down his spine and couldn't help but gulp down some saliva. He turned around and quickly strode towards the outside of the house. Still trying to act tough, he said he would go check out the other rooms first. As they walked out of the classroom, the school uniform on the desk began to move in a strange and eerie manner. The next second, the sound of a table falling to the ground reached the ears of the two people outside the room. The two brothers in the corridor couldn't help but nervously turn around after hearing the noise. Immediately, the two of them saw a scene that would be unforgettable for the rest of their lives. They saw a school uniform flying out of the broken window. The school uniform stood in the air swaying in the wind. Upon closer inspection, one could vaguely see a faint figure inside the uniform, with a pair of eyes that seemed like dark orchids. At that moment, those eyes were fixed firmly on the two troublesome brothers. These two hooligans had caught the attention of the ghost, simply because they had not subscribed while watching the video. The hooligans were chased by the female ghost in a school uniform for 3 blocks in a sorry state, panicking and choosing paths haphazardly. They finally found a room with an open door. Chong Mao then suggested that they should go in and hide for a while. The two of them entered the room and tightly closed the door. The two brothers finally relaxed. They were exhausted both physically and mentally, and didn't want to move around anymore. After a while, the long-haired person, who had regained consciousness, observed the environment in the room. Suddenly, they realized that it seemed to be a dormitory. Muscle Brother also noticed the paper and pens placed on the table at this time. He fixed his eyes on the content on it. Isn't this the pen ghost game? He picked up the pen roughed up with tape, couldn't help but complain. Is this pen too weird? The fuzzy recalling the instructions I gave before entering the ghost house. This adventure includes 4 small scenes. You must experience all of them in order to get clues to the exit. In that case, let's give this pen ghost game a try. I've seen videos before, and it seems quite simple. After saying that, Muscle Brother began to chant the summoning spell. Abracadabra energy. Bukalaka, if you can hear us. Draw a circle on the paper. As the spell ended, the two suddenly found that the pen in their hands began to act uncontrollably. Staring at each other, both thought that the other was up to something. The next second, the fountain pen in hand automatically started drawing circles on the paper. Feeling the eeriness firsthand, the two brothers began sweating profusely. Could it be true that the pen ghost has arrived? It shouldn't be. This game is just using the environment and rules for psychological suggestion. There's no such thing as ghosts and creatures in this world. While Zhang Mao said so, his micro-expressions revealed his inner panic. As the circle on the paper closed, both of them suddenly felt a chill creeping in. Just as Muscles was about to ask another question, the pen in their hand unexpectedly waved out of control again. Before long, 3 blood-red characters appeared on the paper. The two people stared at the newly appeared blood characters. Chong Mao was already on the verge of collapse. His widened eyes were bloodshot, and he muttered madly, "This must be a trap set by the boss. It's impossible for there to be ghosts and creatures in this world. Impossible." But when he looked up again, he saw Muscle Brother with rolled-back eyes and mouth wide open. This appearance was clearly a result of extreme fear. "Bro. Brother Zhu, what's wrong with you? Say something." Hearing his companion's call, Muscle Brother's body suddenly trembled violently. With great difficulty, he managed to utter a few words. "Behind you, there's someone." Feeling a chilling sensation coming from behind, Long Mao couldn't help but shiver. He had already realized that as long as he turned around, he would definitely see a scene that would be unforgettable for the rest of his life. These two men were idiots. They were full, and had to come to my haunted house to stir up trouble. No, they were chased by Ghost Apparel's school uniform 3 blocks away on their front foot. Now they have encountered Pen Go's sister, who specializes in treating body odor. The muscle guy who reacted quickly got up and ran outside. He completely ignored the good buddy still sitting on the chair. Seeing his bro leaving him behind, Long Mao also panicked. He was about to get up and leave, but his hand seemed to be grasped by something, unable to move. Immediately, the pen in his hand began to wave around again uncontrollably. He watched helplessly as the blood-red characters on the paper increased. Chong Mao fell into madness completely. He clenched his teeth and gripped his hands tightly. He tried to break free with brute force from this strange enchanted pen. Unexpectedly, with his struggles, the pen in his hand did come to a stop. At this moment, the room was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop, only the sound of his heavy breathing echoing. He looked at the pen that almost scared him to pee. His heavy breathing became more intense again. What pen goes taboo? Still trying to scare me? Without waiting for him to continue his nonsense, he suddenly felt a strange sensation on his head. It seems like a woman's long hair is slowly moving. His eyeballs moved slightly, and long hairs instantly stood still. Beads of sweat the size of soybeans couldn't help but burst out. The next second, a terrifying ghost face suddenly appeared in front of his eyes, following a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Let's take a look at Chong Mao again. His eyes had rolled back, foaming at the mouth, screaming for his mother. And Pen Ghost's sister also stopped when things took a turn for the worse. She no longer paid any attention to Chong Mao, who had fainted, letting him fall freely to the ground. On the other side, I have already geared up and arrived at the sealed classroom. I was wondering why these two troublemakers hadn't screamed yet after being inside for so long. When I turned around, I saw Muscle Bro running and shouting for help, saying, "Brother, save me!" I said, "Big brother, you have strong muscles. How come you look even more disheveled than a girl?" Muscle Bro seemed to not have heard my words and continued to shout in fear, saying, "There's blood! There's a ghost!" Before I could continue asking about the situation, this guy raised his hands and slammed on the gas pedal, leaving in a cloud of smoke. Really, he came in so arrogantly. I haven't even taken action yet, and I'm scared like this. The muscle guy over here is still running wildly. He must not be an actor muttering in his mouth. "There's a ghost! There's really a ghost in this room!" Running, and arrived in front of a women's restroom. He didn't even see the sign clearly and rushed into a stall. He quickly closed the door. This guy is really unlucky. He always runs into trouble. He entered the fifth stall full of excitement. At this moment, he still didn't realize the seriousness of the situation. He picked up the phone and called a Winter for help loudly. However, the short Winter Melon on the other end of the phone mistakenly thought that they were being bullied by the employees of Ghost House. He immediately prepared to come in person to help the two guys. Muscle Brother hurriedly continued to explain upon hearing this. "No, Brother Yuan really has a ghost." The voice abruptly stopped halfway through saying it in this room. He looked at the shoes suddenly appearing outside the door. The muscular brother once again fell into infinite fear. The 1.8-meter tall muscular hunk was scared to the point of peeing his pants. Because he had just seen the pen ghost, given his bad habit of watching videos but not subscribing, the pen ghost's sister decided to reward him with a look at her unparalleled beauty. She even said she would reward him every night. The strong man was probably too excited upon hearing this. He fainted directly. The long-haired man accompanying him into the ghost house was also very fortunate. Pen Ghost's sister not only showed him her beauty. After he was scared unconscious, she got on his body. When I found him, half of his body was already leaning into the well. It seemed like he was about to go down to find something. After I sent them out of Adventure House, Short Winter Melon thought I had tampered with it inside. He asked me to give an explanation in front of other tourists today. I just happened to want to know the whole process of the incident. So I suggested that we bring along a few tourists to watch the surveillance footage together. As the surveillance cameras couldn't capture the school uniform female ghost and pen ghost, the actions of the two brothers seemed very strange to outsiders. First, he murmured to himself while holding a pen. Then, Muscle Brother screamed and ran away without any warning. The two tourists watching thought they were mentally ill. As the progress went on, the long-haired figure that reappeared on the screen looked drunk, moving unsteadily with its head down, muttering to itself from time to time. Short Winter Melon was obviously dissatisfied. He shouted that the camera should be zoomed in closer. After the camera zoomed in, it was only when Changmao suddenly stopped as he passed by the closed classroom. At the same time, he muttered to himself, "I treat this classroom as my home. But I have a reason to leave. I have to talk to Xi and Wang. Once I handle this matter, I will definitely come back." Seeing this, others still looked puzzled. But I have a rough guess. This guy is probably possessed by the pen ghost. As Changmao entered the classroom, his body suddenly started to twist crazily, as if he was trying his best to break free from something grabbing onto him. Then the scene came to an abrupt halt. In order to verify the speculation in my mind, I immediately clicked on another surveillance video. At this point, the scene had already switched to in front of the well, and Changmao still maintained that soulless look. I could understand Ryan Chen's decision. If it were me, I would do the same. After all, Xi and Wang was once her best friend. Give her another chance. After saying this sentence, Changmao knelt down and then slowly slipped into the well. Seeing this, AI Donghua still believed that I had set a trap until the scene appeared where I helped Changmao, at which point AI Donghua had nothing more to say. The tourist behind also spoke frankly. This is the ghost house version of the farmer and the viper. The lucky vengeful ghost is favoring you. Congratulations on triggering the Twilight High School hidden quest. Pen Ghost's wish. Quest requirement. Find Pen Ghost's best friend from before his death. Quest reward. Increase Pen Ghost Ryan Chen's favorability significantly. There is a chance to hire him as an employee. Looking at the new notifications on my phone, I am feeling happy at this moment. This time not only in front of the tourists. I have slapped Qing Guang Management Agency's face. I also unexpectedly unlocked a new quest. As long as it is successfully completed, I might be able to recruit Pen Ghost's sister under my command. What exactly happened to cause these two beautiful and youthful girls to appear before me? A ghostly spirit of nostalgia has become one of them. A person who has become intermittently manic and depressive. To complete the quest entrusted by Pen Ghost, I had to contact Captain Lee to ask him to help investigate the situation regarding Ryan Chen. According to the case file, Ryan Chen is the person who hanged herself in the dormitory 3 years ago. At that time, her suicide reason was not confirmed. However, shortly before the incident happened to her, at Twilight High School, there was also a major incident. A bus carrying a class on a field trip got into an accident. The accident resulted in the loss of all passengers on the bus, including the driver and students. In addition, there happened to be a student who didn't go on the trip that day. She narrowly escaped the disaster. The person's name is Xian Wang. After listening to Captain Lee's statement, my mind was filled with countless thoughts in an instant. 24 sets of school uniforms are enclosed in the classroom. Maybe it represents the 24 regrets of that accident. Pen Ghost said he wants to go out. In fact, he wants to go find the only survivor, Xian Wang. Captain Lee, can you help me with something else? I want to meet Xian Wang. City People's Hospital. Captain Lee took me to the ward where Xian Wang is located. It may be related to Ryan Chen's matter. Or it could be because of the car accident. She doesn't seem to be quite normal now. Xian Wang, your friend has been wanting to talk to you. I brought her here. Upon hearing my words, Xian Wang seemed to be suddenly stimulated. His body trembled slightly, and he uttered a few stuttered words. Ignoring her changes, I directly took out a pen and paper and started reciting the summoning spell for the Pen Ghost. With the recitation of the spell, Xian Wang's emotions began to escalate. She seemed to be very afraid of the aura emanating from the pen. She huddled up, clutching her head with both hands. Captain Lee immediately moved forward to intervene upon seeing this. I calmly replied, I am helping her untie the knot in her heart. Captain Lee, please give me 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. As the words fell silent, the fountain pen began to move automatically on the paper. Soon wrote out a large passage of text. Xian Wang's body stopped shaking as soon as he saw the content on the paper. Tears welled up in his eyes. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just the despicable selfish me. A prank by Xiao Xiao, Xian Wang, I'm sorry. I hope you won't be influenced by me anymore. Work towards a happy life. In the next second, Pen Ghost seemed to have finished writing everything he wanted to say, and the pen suddenly lost control and fell down. Looking at Xian Wang now, he was sobbing uncontrollably. Both hands propped on the paper, swallowing hard, saying something. After half rations, I don't want to be this painful anymore. Help me, help. The last sentence hasn't been finished. Xian Wang then fell asleep with his hands under his head. I couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief when I saw this. It's good that he fell asleep. It seems to have worked. I gently stroked Xian Wang's head. Sleep now. It's all in the past. At the same time, a doctor suddenly rushed into the ward. What have you done to the patient? He fell asleep after hearing Xian Wang. The doctor couldn't help but show a surprised expression. How is that possible? She is a severe depression patient. How could she fall asleep without medication? I exchanged a simple glance with Captain Lee and wrapped up the work. Pen Ghost's wish has been fulfilled. Activate the hidden quest for the next stage. Create a doll to represent each of the 24 remaining regrets. The lucky vengeful ghost is watching over. Congratulations on successfully unlocking a new member in the ghost house. Pen Ghost Ryan Chen. Since you have fulfilled Pen Ghost's wish, although she still doesn't want to see you, she is grateful to you. Pen Ghost has one chance each day to foresee the future, with a success rate of 50% as long as it is within her abilities. The screams of tourists excite Pen Ghost. Feeding on the fear of tourists can make Pen Ghost even more powerful. If Pen Ghost remains in a low mood for a long time, she may leave you. After several days and nights, I finally managed to recruit Ryan Chen under my command. Although she doesn't seem very reliable, at least it's a good start. Next, I just need to create a puppet to hold the regrets. Attach the 24 disappointments, and it will be ready. Fortunately, I have the skill. Mortuary makeup shouldn't be too difficult to complete. However, accidents always come unexpectedly. Just as I entered the bathroom, suddenly, I heard a strange noise behind me. I saw that the mirror that had been covered with a black cloth before was now inexplicably oozing blood. I lifted the black cloth covering. Before my eyes was a door standing in the midst, and I could clearly see a patch of blood red inside the door. Hasn't Mirror Ghost already been eaten by Isla Zhang? Why is the countdown still continuing? Wait, the door in the mirror is open. It's not even the door of this bathroom. The next second, another surprise. Only the inside of the door in the mirror is seen. Suddenly, a strange energy swooped out. And this energy is constantly overflowing. At the same time, it is accompanied by eerie cackling sounds. Damn it, it took me a while to react. I hastily grabbed a black cloth to cover it, just to be safe. This time, I deliberately reinforced it with wooden boards. I breathed a sigh of relief only after completely covering the mirror tightly. What the hell was that thing that just popped out? This countdown really makes people uncomfortable. It's like after it reaches 0, some kind of monster will come out from it. Do not wait for me to continue thinking. LSU's call came from outside the toilet. Boss, there is a person surnamed Gao outside looking for you. Also brought along a strange person. Arriving at the door, it is indeed Professor Gao, the father of Chloe Gao. Standing behind him is a dejected-looking man. After some brief pleasantries, Professor Gao stated his purpose. This is Nan Min, a medical school student, who has symptoms similar to those of Leo Fan before. He came specifically to inquire about some information. Note, special personnel have appeared. This man can actually trigger phone notifications. Can he also see ghost and soul? Professor Gao continued to introduce the man's situation. Nan Min was originally a confident and cheerful person. However, recently he has been dreaming about strange things, which has made him extremely irritable and bad-tempered. Over time, he became like this. When I asked him, Nan Min hesitantly revealed the content of his dreams. Every time in my dreams, I am washing my hair. And I can clearly sense that there is something watching me. As soon as I close my eyes, that thing will rush over and choke my neck. I can only wake up when I'm close to suffocating. This man, with a weak kidney, has offended spirits. Every night, he dreams of a female ghost helping him wash his hair. He even said not to comment with an interesting emoji or not to subscribe to the channel. She is going to help you wash your hair today. At this moment, Nan Min is extremely excited. After 3 weeks of continuous nightmares, he is on the verge of a breakdown. It got me. It must want me to seek revenge for it. So it keeps haunting me. What should I do? I exchanged a glance with Professor Gao. I decided to temporarily stop provoking him. Wait until Nanmin calms down. Professor Gao spoke again. He invited me to visit Nanmin's residence together. After all, I had entrusted Liu Fan to him before, so I agreed directly. Professor Gao also seemed quite anxious. We agreed to meet at the entrance of Haiming apartment at 8 o'clock tonight. Looking at their departing figures, I vaguely saw a mysterious shadow pressing down on Nanmin's back. It seems that this matter is indeed not simple. I have to prepare myself before I go. The second special guest has already left. Successfully unlocked hidden Quest 3 men's room. Quest Scream Index 1 star. Arrive at Haiming apartment before midnight to uncover the cause of the special guest's ailment. Quest location, Haiming apartment 303. Quest tip, he comes from the 3rd inpatient unit. I was suddenly surprised when I saw the last clue. I remember 2 years ago, when my parents went missing. I specifically asked Uncle Shu if he knew where they were. Uncle Shu did mention at that time. Before my parents left, they vaguely mentioned the 3rd inpatient unit. I also found a note about the 3rd inpatient unit when sorting through their belongings before. This quest also mentioned this place. It seems that I must complete this quest as it likely has clues to my parents' disappearance. I quickly packed the necessary equipment. I am planning to bring Xiaoxiao along as well. After all, this quest is very important to me. At night, I arrived early at Nanmin's house in Haiming apartment. I knocked on the door for a while, but no one answered. Instead, the neighbor from apartment 302 next door came out. Will you ever stop? Why keep knocking incessantly? He heard that I was looking for someone. The man's face immediately darkened. You're mistaken. No one lives in apartment 303. It hasn't been rented out since someone died there. Stop knocking on the door. So unlucky. Looking at the already closed door. For a moment, I really didn't know what to do. But the quest prompt clearly states it's at 303. Just then, Nanmin suddenly walked out from the next room, giving me a start. Wow, so you live in room 304. Nanmin still looks frail and weak. He just said coldly, "Come in." I entered the room and saw a mirror facing the door. Due to the strange happenings at Adventure House, I am particularly sensitive to mirrors now. The quest is called 3 Men's Room, Nanmin Dream Lover. Could the 3rd person be hidden in the mirror? The man washes his hair 100 times a day. He even washes his hair in his dreams. Just because when he was very young, encountered a paranormal event. Not only were his parents killed by a mysterious person, he also got his head dripped with blood seeping from the ceiling. In order to help him get rid of the ghost shadow in his dream, I could only let him recall the scene of that night again. That night, his parents found someone had broken into the house. So they told little Nanmin to hide first. He didn't dare to go out until there was no sound outside the room. When he arrived in the living room, he only saw blood all over the house. The bloodstains extended from the living room to the bathroom. When he entered the bathroom, he did not find any trace of his parents. But there was liquid dripping down on his head. Since then, Nanmin has developed OCD. He has to wash his head several times a day. However, the main reason that occasionally drives him crazy is still the mysterious shadow in his dreams. There must be something dirty in that place. This dirty thing wants to trap Nanmin in a corner. It seems that he should go check out room 303 next door. Just as I was about to break in, suddenly, I was stopped by the resident of Unit 301 behind me. "Hey, are you here looking for a place to stay?" he said. "I suggest you don't bother looking anymore. Not just anyone can live here." The drunkard seemed to know something. I quickly took out a bottle of wine from my backpack, pretending to be interested in renting Unit 303, and asked him to tell me more. Upon seeing the alcohol, the man immediately launched into a speech. Unit 303 is not a good place to live. Do you know Haiming Wang, who built this building? He was cheated by a woman and ended up with a mental illness. His ex-wife took pity on him and brought him back. He now lives in Unit 303. During the day, everything is fine, but once it's nighttime, he starts banging his head against the wall, causing continuous bleeding. It wasn't until they called the police that he was finally brought under control. He kept saying that something had entered his brain. I think it must have been water. Even more bizarre. After Haiming Wang died, many residents in this building claimed to have seen him come back. So, young man, I advise you to leave. This place is quite bizarre. Although it's a drunkard's words, one thing is for sure. All the clues point to room 303. Ryan Chen, why are you standing outside? I want to check the surrounding rooms. I was about to go into the room next to yours to take a look. After hearing what I said, Nen didn't seem to stop me too much. They just told me that the key is with the landlord. There's no need to find the landlord for this matter. I have a better way. With a response, I opened the window of the balcony. I ignored Nen's dissuasion. I just hoped not to be seen by others, thinking that I am going to jump off the building. I gripped tightly to the wall's points of force and moved cautiously in front of the window. Before long, I climbed out onto the balcony of 303. Believe it or not, being chased by ghosts has actually improved my stamina. Looking inside, under the light of the night, there was nothing special. But as soon as I walked into the living room, I noticed something was amiss. It smells terrible. This is not just a typical musty smell. This is the smell of rotten meat. I turned on the flashlight and carefully explored around. It turned out to be sparrows. However, how did these sparrows get in? Moreover, judging from the amount of blood, it doesn't seem like it was caused by just a few sparrows. Has someone been here recently? I searched through the blood-stained clothes and found a key in the pocket. From the appearance, it doesn't seem to be a key for Haiming apartment. Just as I was pondering about the origin of the clothes, suddenly, a man's voice came from outside the window. Just now, the person who was scolding me was the occupant in apartment 304. Now, he is muttering to himself outside the window saying, "You all? Please don't push me any further." There is a ghost living in this room, and two people living next to him have been targeted by a vengeful ghost. One person is coerced by the vengeful ghost to provide live blood sacrifices every week. Another person is forced by the vengeful ghost to wash her head 100 times a day, until he becomes insane. When I returned to room 304, I found that Nen seemed a little off. At this moment, he rolled his eyes and moved slowly as if sleepwalking. In order not to alert the snake in the grass, I plan to be a bystander first. I want to see if I can find the problem. Just then, Nen went straight to the bathroom, turned on the tap. He stuck his head out and started the hair washing service. His eyes were bloodshot, showing extreme pain. Soon after, a piercing scream was heard. Can't wait any longer. Something bad will happen if this continues. I hurriedly moved forward to restrain him. I shouted loudly Nen's name, hoping he would come to his senses. In a glance, the mirror reflected a monster's figure, exactly as described in Nen's dream. The monster was firmly gripping his neck. This guy is about to be possessed by a ghost. In desperation, I smashed the mirror with one punch. Then I casually pushed the unconscious Nen to the side. But the monster seemed to have not been hurt. Instead, it turned into a red light and swiftly escaped. At the critical moment, my brain worked at full speed and had a breakthrough. Xiao can only rely on you now. Go, Picaxio. Stop him for me. Unexpected. The panel displays Xiao, who sucks at fighting. She actually bared her fangs at this moment. She caught up with the fleeing monster in an instant. She took a bite, and there was a crunchy sound. I don't know if Shishi's combat power has increased since following me, or if this monster is just too weak. It didn't even put up any resistance. It was sucked dry in just 2 or 3 moves. At the same time, suddenly, the slick-back guy from 302 rushed in with a kitchen knife in his hand. He actually took a bite of my arm. "I'll slaughter you." I can't touch the ghost entity. "I'm afraid of you, you live target." When I swung the hammer, the kitchen knife fell with a sharp sound. But slick-back guy lost his weapon. He kept shouting, "Kill, kill, kill," with his mouth. I am also worried that a single blow might smash someone to death. The situation was deadlocked for a while. Just as slick-back guy was about to charge forward, suddenly, the alcoholic fat bro appeared. He made a flying leap, like Mount Type pressing down, successfully subduing the demoralized slick-back guy with his weight advantage. The next second, the monster, knowing the situation was lost, darted out of the slick-back guy's body. Instantly transforming into a blood-red liquid, it swiftly flew towards the exit. This time, the speed was clearly much faster than before. Careless for a moment, he managed to escape. The scene switched. Slick-back guy's condition had stabilized, but he seemed to have no recollection of what had happened earlier. He listened to the details described by Fat Bro beside him, feeling extremely scared. By inquiring, Slick-back guy moved in 3 months ago because it was more affordable here, so he didn't pay much attention to the rumors among the residents. However, on the first night he moved in, he discovered something was wrong. In a half-awake state, he always felt there was a monster standing in the room. The monster had 2 faces, and would occasionally talk and argue with itself. The next day when he tried to leave, he was already entangled by the monster. The monster asked Slick-back guy not to avoid it. As long as he helped it with things, it would stop bothering him after a while. At first, he only needed to bring some live small animals, but later the monster's appetite grew larger. It even demanded that he bring live humans to it. Otherwise, it would kill Slick-back guy. In this way, the helpless Slick-back guy found Nan Min, who was renting a room. The man took advantage of a small loophole and moved into a house haunted by ghosts. He ended up being haunted by a vengeful ghost. The vengeful ghost demanded that he provide fresh blood from a living being every week, such as cats, dogs, or even humans. If he refused to cooperate, the ghost would kill the man. The intimidation was overwhelming, and the man felt helpless. He could only target Nan Min, who was looking for a house because the rent was cheap. Nan Min agreed on the spot. And so, Nan Min became the second victim. He started an endless nightmare of washing his hair if I hadn't discovered it in time. Then I drove away the monster in the mirror, and now Nan Min is not crazy. He was completely possessed by the ghost. Under my repeated questioning, the man revealed more detailed secrets. This monster often talks to itself and argues. One of them said that if it wasn't for the fear of Red Robe finding out, it would rather die than coexist with a piece of garbage. The words were shocking. I instantly thought of the 3rd Inpatient Unit's Red Robe vengeful ghost. Haiming Wong previously brought the monsters out of the 3rd Inpatient Unit. It indicates that the Red Robe they mentioned is indeed that Red Robe vengeful ghost. But this Red Robe is on the same level as Isla Zhang. It's a bit tricky now. By the way, that monster has a weakness. It fears bright light and dislikes noisy environments. Also, among the creatures they let me prepare, there was never a stray cat. Understood the basic useful information. I also decided to leave first. Congratulations on completing the quest and receiving the reward Ghost Eyes. Function Introduction. Ghost Eyes can see through darkness, allowing the host to see spirits in the darkness. It also significantly improves the host's vision. I feel the changes in my eyes. It seems like things in my field of vision have become much clearer. Unlocking a new scene. 3 Men's Room gives players the ability to control all the mechanisms in the scene. Completing over 90% of the trial quest will earn you the hidden item, Key of Self-Awareness, which can enhance the user's mental state. Avoid falling into a state of mental confusion. It is a one-time use item. I don't have a mental illness. What's the use of this then? The scene shifts to a doll-making factory. I decided to complete the doll quest first. Maybe it can even increase my combat power to better deal with the upcoming red robe. I entered the house. The dolls that caught my eye were hideous. This boss really has thick skin. He earnestly claimed to be the most skilled craftsman in the area. He only glanced at the photo in my hand. He couldn't keep up the act anymore. This job is not easy to take on. Fortunately, I was prepared early. I had a brief discussion with the boss. I offered a high price of 300. I negotiated to borrow his tools and do it myself. The next morning, the boss arrived at the warehouse early. Obviously, he was very worried that his place had been rummaged through. But the moment he opened the door, he was stunned. What's going on? Is that kid so mysterious? The young man suggests you come with me in the future. You don't need to run Adventure House anymore. In the future, this store is yours. I ignored the boss's sincere invitation. After all, I'm not interested in money. LSU chased after me asking questions as I carried this big box back. Ha ha ha, little Ella, this is a big treasure. Men have that kind of perverted mindset. He even doesn't let go of the stray cats on the street. After I stopped him, he even cursed me for meddling in, and even wanted to take care of me as well. How can I indulge him in this? I will strike back with a throat lock move. The ghost eyes skill is activated, as if a stare from the abyss. A chilling sensation sweeps through the body. When the man looks again, he trembles in fear and apologizes repeatedly. Really? I was happy to complete the quest, and you had to be a killjoy. Maybe the effect of ghost eyes hasn't worn off yet. The white cat showed an attacking posture when I approached. The little guy is quite interesting. Don't worry, I mean no harm. They say cats can communicate with the yin and yang. The ancients were not deceiving me. I put down the umbrella and built a simple shelter for the white cat and her kittens. It's a small act of kindness for the day. Just a few steps away, I heard the sound of the white cat falling to the ground. It seems that the maniac was not gentle in his actions. Forget it, since we've met, let's consider it fate. I carried the white cat and her kittens and searched for quite a while. Finally, I found a pet hospital that was about to close. Unexpectedly, the two seemingly unhurt kittens stopped breathing first. Luckily, the larger one could still be saved. Help cats all the way to the end. From now on, you should follow me. You're not even afraid of ghost eyes. Who knows, you might give me some surprises. The white cat seemed to understand, as it actually nodded seriously. Give the kittens a simple burial near Adventure House. It also makes it easy for the white cat to come over to contemplate the kittens. Well, since I've decided to adopt you, I must come up with a name for you. You're so white, how about calling you Snow White? Oh, you even shake your head. Let's do this, you're so fierce. Then let's call you White Tiger. Follow me in the future, and you'll be well fed with fish snacks. I spent a lot of brain cells. Finally, the cat master is satisfied. The next day, I assembled the finished puppets. Then I dressed them up nicely. Then I placed the puppets into the scene of Twilight High School, and believe it or not, after some dressing up, this plastic lump really started to look a bit soulful. Congratulations on completing the quest to create the regretful body. Gain the trust of the returnees. You can easily control them through your phone. That's great, with an additional 24 professional actors. This is what Top Ghost House should be like. Just as I was immersed in joy. White Tiger seems to have seen something. Meowing incessantly in a certain direction. It jumped directly off my shoulder and dashed out at high speed. It kept playing with its paws in front of a cabinet. When I bent down to take a look, it turned out to be Xiao Xiao. She is facing the white tiger. The little one had no resistance at all. Watching her in tears, I couldn't help but feel depressed. She is supposed to be a vengeful ghost. How could she be scared like this by just a cat? She's really losing face as a ghost. However, The white tiger's target doesn't seem to be Xiao Xiao, as it continues to gallop frantically towards a distant place. I chased all the way to the bathroom. How come this mirror is oozing blood again? I opened the seal. The countdown on the mirror has reached 0. The next second, the wooden door swung open. Waves of bloody energy surged out from the door. I could even see the large eyes and huge mouth inside clearly. It seemed like it wanted to devour everything. Just a moment of being stunned. Countless bright red blood hands instantly surrounded me. There are people behind the door. They want to pull me into the mirror. As the body gradually sank in, the large eyes and huge mouth inside the door seemed to become more and more excited. And I could only watch helplessly as they pulled me in little by little. My name is Ryan Chen, and tonight, the mirror in my bathroom moved. Not only did it grow eyes and a mouth, but it also tried to swallow me up. Just as the endless blood red was about to completely pull me into the mirror, White Tiger finally showed its might. After snarling at the mirror, it quickly sprung towards me and bit my hand. The intense pain instantly woke me up, and I frantically struggled once again. I finally broke free from the bloody hand's restraint and successfully escaped. After a burst of running, I was now sitting exhausted on the ground. Everything happened too suddenly. Although I have escaped the danger, I still feel a chill down my spine. It was a close call. I almost got pulled in. But wasn't Mirror Ghost already taken care of? Why is that door still open? In that split second just now, I seem to have seen a world bathed in blood red. Could there be another space existing inside the mirror? Are the monsters previously eaten by Isla Zhang just one of many in that space? The more I think about it, the more eerie it seems. This mirror could possibly be a gateway linking two worlds. Unfortunately, I dare not enter to explore. If it weren't for White Tiger interrupting in time, I might have already been separated. Now that midnight has passed, the numbers have disappeared. Should be safe for now, right? You've worked hard tonight, take a rest first. I'll give you an extra meal after you wake up. The next day. In order to better deal with the upcoming dangers, I arrived at the farmer's market early in the morning. With a clear goal in mind, I went straight to the butcher's stall. Had a good chat with Zero Rong. Wanted to buy an old knife. Boss Zero Rong understood it at once. He directly took out the ancestral pig slaughtering knife. This knife looks extremely fierce just by its appearance. It's simply too nice. Through Ghost Eye's perspective, I really can see the bloodstains all over the knife. Zero Rong saw my interest and immediately began to praise. This knife is a family heirloom. When I was young, my grandfather brought it into the pigsty. Not a single pig dared to make a sound. Since you like it, I'll give it to you for 2,000. Deal? Upon returning to Adventure House, I plan to use the remaining 2 spins of the lucky wheel first. It's best to have something good. More security means more peace of mind. Congratulations on winning the White Valentine's Day candy. This item represents the sublimation of friendship. Only when Isla Zhang's favorability reaches beloved, there is a 7% chance of it appearing. This damn thing sounds so awkward. And this face looks so much like Isla Zhang's roommate. The campaign got off to a bad start. I can only pin my hopes on the last chance now. Lucky Vengeful Ghost Guardian. Congratulations on winning the rare item, the Weeping Tape. The winning probability is 3%. That was the sound of his struggling plea for help before he died. Congratulations on again winning the rare Vengeful Ghost. Note that after winning Vengeful Ghost 5 times in a row, the title of Vengeful Ghost Patron will be automatically upgraded. I'm really behind the times. Who still uses tapes these days? I doubt you can even find a radio at the junkyard. Only a 3% chance. So this tape, Vengeful Ghost, shouldn't be too good without Isla Zhang. Well, being a weakling might actually make communication and collaboration easier. A moment later, carefully tapping on the items on the table. Salt. Pig-killing knife all here. But still feel like something's missing. Thought for a while, and couldn't figure it out. I took out Pen Ghost's small house. Pen Ghost, I want to use today's precognitive opportunity. Please answer me. What kind of danger will I encounter when entering the third inpatient unit? After a cloud of green smoke, Pen Ghost slowly began to move. But? What the hell is going on now? Have you ever seen a cheeky Pen Ghost before? I just asked her to predict whether the third inpatient unit is in danger. The result is that this guy actually backed off directly. He asked me not to bring her along. Should I say it or not? It seems like all the ghosts in my hand are pushovers except for Isla Zhang. Since that's the case, let's take action together. After I had all the equipment ready, I also set out on the exploration journey of the third inpatient unit with White Tiger. It's about the clues to my missing parents. We must break through today. After a moment, I arrived at the live stream campsite that had been arranged in advance. The man in glasses in front of me is called Dao Lu. He had been pushing me to collaborate with their platform before. It just happens to be a good opportunity to advertise for Adventure House. Dao Lu was ready to get down to business as soon as he saw me. He quickly pulled out the information about the third inpatient unit for me to look at before taking action. Their professional team seems to be well prepared indeed. The rehabilitation center has a total of 3 buildings. The first inpatient unit and the second inpatient unit are for accommodating regular patients. The third inpatient unit is a closed ward. It houses some patients with higher levels of danger. According to the investigation, the third inpatient unit is very mysterious. It is a forbidden area in the rehabilitation center. If ordinary patients sneak in, they will still face punishment. Someone said, "The third inpatient unit has a murderer doctor named Qin Xiong, who is crazier than the mentally ill." Others said that the patients here are not actually human, they are ghosts and creatures. Ryan Chen, I think it's enough for you to finish exploring the first 2 wards today. It's better not to go. Dao Lu kept talking. I interrupted him directly. Okay, you guys watch the live broadcast in the tent tonight. I'll go in by myself. No matter what you see, don't come looking for me. I looked up at the abandoned building in front of me, which has been deserted for many years. In my heart, I couldn't help but feel moved as the moment has finally arrived. Let me see. What did my parents really encounter here back then? Before entering the building, everything remains the same as before. Opening the camera, I briefly introduced the plot of the live broadcast to my online friends. There's also a new partner, White Tiger. The rehabilitation center occupies a considerable amount of land. Let's take a look at the first inpatient unit first. The wards here are very crowded. Living in such a place, even if you are not ill, you will slowly lose hope for survival. As I delved deeper, I suddenly found Haiming Wang's bed. Upon approaching, I saw his past experiences written all over the wall, full of demons and temptations. Indeed, the world of mental illness is not understood by ordinary people. Got it. But I can also see that by now, he must have been entangled by monsters. Perhaps the third inpatient unit also has a door leading to another world. After a while, I arrived at the nurse station. But the furnishings here are very strange. It's like a sacrificial scene. There is a plate of half-cooked duck. It seems like it hasn't been there for long. But hasn't this ward been abandoned for many years? What is going on here? There is also a strong pungent smell coming from the bowl. It seems like rat poison has been placed. I fixed my eyes on the cage and found that there were words inside. Could it be that someone has really been kept in the cage? Apart from me, there are other people here. Combined with this series of strange events, I suddenly realized a hint of danger. I quickly turned back to check. The door I entered through unexpectedly had been closed at this moment. Just then, the white tiger suddenly let out an angry roar. I glanced in the direction of its roar, towards the staircase. There stood a figure with eyes glowing red. This young lady is so pitiful. Not only was her head shaved, but she was also tied up and locked in a cage. and the one imprisoning her is a monstrous-looking creature. Just now, the white tiger suddenly let out an angry roar. I looked in the direction of its roar, and suddenly saw a hideous strange man. After seeing the figure clearly, I dared not make any extra moves for a while. After all, this guy looks too strange. But the white tiger is exceptionally fierce. It pounced directly. Good gracious, now I have to catch up. I can only chase after them with a weapon in hand. Unexpectedly, the two of them ran very fast. Even with the speed boost buff activated, I couldn't catch up. I ended up in a strange room in a daze. At that moment, I was still thinking about the face I just saw. I felt like it looked a bit like a baboon. Could it be this monster that locked the door? Now even White Tiger is missing. I can only go to the second building according to the map. Hopefully, I can find the little guy. I suddenly came to my senses. I suddenly realized that the place I am in seems to be a spiritual hall. Should I talk about this photo? Quite distinctive. Could it also be a victim of the third inpatient unit? Damn it, I always feel like this photo looks like Wang Wang. It has been staring at me. I'd better slip away early. After a while, I finally found the entrance to the second inpatient unit. Not long after I entered, I heard strange cries coming from the adjacent room. White Tiger, is that you? No response after a long time. I had to muster up the courage and walked in. In the dim room, there were several iron cages again. The sound heard just now was coming from the cages. I approached cautiously, and saw a bald girl locked in the cage. The girl seemed very excited to see me. She was whimpering with tears on her face. Not only that, there are also two men locked in cages. It's surprising to see people tied up here. It's so stimulating. The online friends in the live stream room were instantly shocked. I carefully observed the three people in the cages. I don't dare to release them temporarily. The culprit may be among them. Apart from the woman whose mouth was blocked, the reactions were very intense. The other two people appeared very calm. Especially this middle-aged man, he has been staring at me. Also, why is only this woman tied up? She is clearly the easiest person to control. After some hesitation, I decided to release the woman first. No other reason, just because she looks more like a victim. As I was about to untie the cloth, the middle-aged man beside me finally spoke up. I advise you not to do something foolish. She is very noisy and will attract unwanted attention. Upon hearing this, I temporarily stopped my actions. First, tell me who you are, I said. The man calmly replied, My name is Hyaming Wang. Wow, your name is Hyaming Wang. Nonsense. Stop lying to me. I will hit you on the head with a hammer. After one hit, the man finally confessed. My name is Tong Su. I am reviewing the previous information. I also confirmed the man's identity, to confirm if he was really being honest. I then asked him about the situation of Hyaming Wang. This time, the man's answers did match up. Why are there two bowls of water only in front of the old man? Who put them there? It was placed by the old man's son, but this is also retribution. One of the two bowls of water is clean. The other bowl has rat poison in it. Whether one lives or dies depends on luck. His son is a doctor. Originally, everything was going smoothly for him. But this old man somehow married a wife from somewhere. The woman ran away with all the family's money and caused a big loss. Later, his son went crazy. His son injured several patients in the hospital. The old man locked his son in a cage at home. It's just reversed now. After listening to this explanation, I also have a rough guess. This old man's son is probably Qin Xiong from the third inpatient unit. From being a doctor to becoming a mental patient. And he is also very aggressive. He is most likely the killer hiding in the ward. There is a problem with these two bowls of water. One has been laced with rat poison. The other one is clean mineral water. And this old man locked in a cage has to make a binary choice every day. simply because he treated his son in the same manner before. The way of heaven is fair. Now his son is repaying him in the same way. The man who was also locked in a cage. But he knows everything like the back of his hand. It makes me have to suspect that he is the old man's son. Unexpectedly, the man became excited the moment he heard my question. I have reached this point in order to evade your surveillance. You still suspect me. Stop pretending. You must be in cahoots with them too. Watching him alternate between being excited and laughing, I couldn't help but feel speechless. Indeed, there are no normal people in the mental hospital. I am also very puzzled. This hospital has been abandoned for many years. Why are these patients appearing here? In order to unravel the mystery, I decided to find another woman to ask. Seeing that I was about to pick up the cloth ball again, the man got excited once more. You don't keep your promises. I've answered your questions. You'll attract them this way. Ignoring his shouts, I still reached out for the cloth ball. Don't worry, I have no ill intent towards you. But as soon as I picked up the cloth ball, the woman immediately changed her expression. With a look of fear on her face, she screamed, Hands! The hands are here! As the woman's strange screams echoed, two humanoid shadows with weapons suddenly appeared in the hallway. Just like in classic horror movies, the sound of the axe scraping against the ground was essential. Meanwhile, inside the room, the woman continued to shout hoarsely. I could only react by silencing her mouth again. Stop screaming! Listen to me first! You said the police are here? Are you afraid of the one-armed patient from the 3rd inpatient unit? The woman nodded repeatedly at the words, as if her emotions had eased slightly. And the man beside her was still in a panic, repeatedly saying, It's over, it's over. We're doomed. I understand the reason why women are scared. I am not nervous anymore. I heard the approaching metal sound. Slowly raised the hammer. The unknown is what's truly frightening. Now that I know the true identity, let him also taste my big hammer. After a moment, a hand forcefully pushed the door open. The newcomer is the one-armed man. And I am hiding behind the door holding a big hammer acting as a creep. Hee, the angle is just right. I will seize the opportunity. I launch an attack in an instant, only to see the great hammer cutting through the air in a rainbow-like arc. Bullseye! I successfully hit the one-armed opponent in the face. The enormous force directly sent the one-armed opponent flying several meters away. Regardless of whether it's a person or a ghost, following up with another attack is crucial. I lifted my leg and kicked again. Looking back at the one-armed man, he was already completely unconscious with foam coming out of his mouth. The incident happened so suddenly. On the side, Two-Tone Face just reacted. His teammate had already been taken out. Seeing me being so sharp, Two-Tone Face was directly intimidated. Beads of sweat poured down. The next second, this guy actually dropped the shovel and ran away. Damn it, he almost got me in trouble. He really wasted this powerful monster face. I'm not in a hurry to chase. Let's first control the fainting one-arm before we do anything. I also don't plan to release the 3 people in the cage for now. The uncertainties are too great. I can't let them affect the next actions. The clue to the missing parents may be here. I need to be more cautious. After half a day's journey, I finally arrived at the gate of the 3rd inpatient unit. Just standing at the entrance, I could clearly feel the chilling cold wind blowing out from inside. It was like the building was breathing heavily, foreshadowing the danger within. An abandoned mental hospital for many years, holding a group of living people inside. The missing patients who have been gone for a long time. They have all reappeared in reality in various identities. Everything I saw and heard there was eerie. But I had to continue exploring because there might be key clues to my parents' disappearance. As soon as I stepped into the 3rd inpatient unit, several haphazardly ugly dolls came into sight. And the name of each doll was written on their bodies, corresponding to the names of patients from years ago in the hospital. Being cautious, I paused for a moment and slowly reached into my backpack. I took out the salt, I had prepared earlier and sprinkled it around randomly, so that those things wouldn't come alive. This is a folk method I learned from the internet. I don't know if it works or not, but it's better than doing nothing. I continued deeper, and soon arrived at the nurse station. The layout was similar to several other buildings. Fortunately, there were no cages here. I found pre-prepared medicine tablets on the desk. They seemed to have just been prepared. The name on the medical record matches the name on the doll at the door. It's creepy and mind-boggling. Could someone have deliberately made fake dolls and pretended to be a doctor for cosplay? Role-playing in an abandoned hospital? That sounds really twisted. Moreover, from the diagnosis reports, it seems that all those people are already dead. I am trying hard to recall the information I saw before entering the building. It seems that there were no patients with such hobbies. Just as I was racking my brains trying to figure out who the person might be, there was a sudden strange noise behind me. I peeked my head out and saw a figure resembling a female zombie silently moving in the hallway. As she walked closer, I could make out her appearance. Despite her monstrous and ghastly look, I still recognized her identity. She was the nurse from the photo in the mortuary. Seeing her appear in this manner again didn't surprise me much. After all, this place is full of unexpected people and events. The ghost of the nurse from the 3rd inpatient unit, who is imprisoned in a cage where the patients roam after death. The two-tone face, and the one-armed man responsible for guarding. And the mysterious person who dispenses medication to the deceased patients. The rehabilitation center that has been closed for many years. Yet it continues to operate in another way. However, the people inside have changed from the living to the dead. After connecting all these pieces together, I am more convinced that the 3rd inpatient unit must have a portal to a parallel world. In order to quickly find the location of the portal, I continued exploring the hospital. After searching for a while, I finally found the director's office. This place has the highest possibility. Soon, I found a storage cabinet with a sealed label on it. And I found the relevant records of Nan Min and her daughter inside. The first page of the medical record contains information about Nan Min. Nan Min's mother was previously a patient in the 3rd inpatient unit. Nan Min was born in the ward. It can be seen from the records. The dean has a very high opinion of little Nan Min. But his abnormalities have also been documented. He always likes to talk to himself. It's like he's communicating with the air. The conclusion reached by the dean in the end is schizophrenia. Through nurse's observation, little Nan Min often runs to the outside of his mother's 3rd ward. He stares straight at the door for an entire afternoon. Each time, nurse has to forcibly carry him away. Looking at the door of the 3rd ward in the photo, I couldn't help but furrow my brows. It looks exactly like the door in the Adventure House mirror. This is a door that connects 2 worlds. Every midnight, countless shadows crawl out from the world inside the door. Those handsome guys and pretty girls who are not subscribed to my channel will be dragged in. A few years ago, this door appeared at the most famous mental hospital in the area, because a child was talking to it every day. The nurse who took care of the child discovered the existence of the door. The nurse promptly informed the director of this discovery. Soon the entire 3rd inpatient unit was sealed off. No one was allowed to approach. Unfortunately, addressing symptoms rather than the root cause. At midnight on a full moon night in a month, the door opened automatically. Countless red moments spread throughout the entire hospital, accompanied by several mysterious dark shadows crawling out. After one night, all the doctors and patients in the entire hospital disappeared. The mental hospital was thus sealed and became a famous haunted house in the area. But when I came here 5 years later, I unexpectedly discovered the previous patients. Some of them were locked in iron cages. Some have transformed into guards. Others have become bizarre creatures that are neither human nor ghosts. Just as I was carefully reading the director's diary, a roar came from behind me again. I turned around and saw the ghost nurse, who had just been in the hallway, but she looked different than before, as if she no longer cared about anyone around her. This time, it seems like she was specifically coming towards me. She lunged at me with bared teeth and claws. Fortunately, I am no longer the youth I used to be. With a swing of the giant hammer, I turned around in an instant and hit her squarely in the face, achieving a solo kill. Unexpectedly, this ghost nurse is quite tough. After taking a blow, she seemed completely unfazed. Fortunately, I was well prepared. I also have a family heirloom pig slaughtering knife. I raised my hand and made another slash downwards. This time, I successfully broke through her defense. Zhiro Rong did not deceive me. This knife really can deal with ghosts. After being firmly cut, the ghost nurse seemed a little scared. She hesitated for a while, and did not attack again. Just when I thought she would run away like those ghosts in movies and TV shows when they couldn't win a fight, this guy opened her blood-stained mouth and rushed at me again. Very stubborn. Your teeth are good, right? Taste the flavor of the iron rod. I was quick-eyed and quick-handed. Instantly, I used the handle of the sledgehammer to block her attack. At the same time, I waved the knife in my left hand. After a sudden alpha assault, Ghost Nurse responded and fell down. And then she turned into red smoke and dissipated. Looking at the blood-soaked white coat left on the ground, I couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Finally, it's done. Excited voice of Dao Lu came through the headphones. Ryan Chen. We're trending. The live broadcast room has surpassed 500,000 viewers. I didn't react much to this. After all, tonight is the real deal. Then I asked about Guang Qin's situation. As for Guang Qin, after his team entered the last classroom of Twilight High School, the live broadcast was interrupted. It's been 25 minutes now, and still hasn't resumed. Anyway, we will definitely win big this time. Dao Lu's voice sounds very excited. It's as if he has won the lottery. Upon hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. Twilight High School is no ordinary instance. Guang Qin does have courage. It seems he has encountered a real challenge this time. I didn't say much more either. The ghosts in Twilight High School are not dangerous. As long as there is no life-threatening danger, scaring that colleague of mine who looks down on me is just perfect. I adjusted my state slightly and took a deep breath. Then I walked towards the darkness again. The next turn after the entrance should be where the door is, right? This abandoned mental hospital, which has been abandoned for many years. But today it is very lively. Not only are there girls locked in iron cages, but there are also terrifying monsters everywhere. Just now, I personally dealt with a fierce ghost nurse. After much effort, I finally saw the legendary gate. But the space in front of the gate was filled with blood red, appearing extremely eerie. Perhaps this gate appears only at certain times, and I happened to catch it when it opened this time. I watched as the blood red approached. For a moment, I felt hesitant. I had almost been swallowed by the gate of the adventure house before. I couldn't figure out if these two gates were the same. Before I could resolve my confusion, I suddenly felt the ground shaking, accompanied by the sound of footsteps. When I looked in the direction of the sound, it turned out to be the ghost nurse that I had just killed. Damn it! Can she still resurrect even after turning into ashes? Luckily, this guy only had brute strength and a simple mind. I easily dodged her first attack. But this resurrected monster seems to be getting stronger. So smelly. Don't open your mouth so wide. She went crazy instantly after missing a hit. I could only swing the big hammer with effort to defend myself. Beautiful lady, please don't open your mouth so wide. It's very smelly. Chased from the front and ambushed from behind. Under attack from all sides, I feel very passive. I saw the ghost with a big mouth call out again. I suddenly had an inspiration. I dodged to the side and swung the hammer. I successfully swapped positions with the beautiful nurse. Hey, beautiful. There's a handsome guy looking for you behind you. Next second, a black hand reached out from the door. The beautiful nurse also heard the commotion behind her. Unfortunately, it was too late. The tank couldn't outrun the assassin, instantly being subdued by the black hand. Immediately, multiple black hands reached out from the door again. The hands worked together skillfully to subdue Ghost Nurse. Seeing that the beautiful woman seemed a bit shy and kept resisting, I considerately lifted my foot. Wishing you a successful date. I kicked out successfully, allowing this couple of lovers to finally become a family. Chris closed the door, and I reached back to firmly hold the door shut. The commotion inside was still intense. I had to place the hammer on the ground to make an external anti-theft door. I temporarily freed up my hands. Thinking that Nan Min might know how to close the gate, I hurriedly dialed the phone. A moment later, Professor Gao's voice came out from the phone. I hurriedly asked him to call Nan Min over to answer the phone. However, Professor Gao was not with Nan Min. Professor Gao, it's a matter of life and death. I discovered the cause of Nan Min's illness. I am now in the mental hospital where he was born. You must help me wake him up. Otherwise, I am also in danger. Upon hearing this, Professor Gao immediately drove to the hospital. But the journey still requires 20 minutes. I cast a sideways glance at the figure that suddenly appeared behind me. I couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Damn it. When did this two-tone face get possessed by a monster? I'll be damned, 20 minutes. I'm afraid I'll have a hard time just holding on for 10 minutes. Pay attention. This creature with a human face and a snake body is a pervert, addicted to parasitically sucking the blood of young men, unable to extricate itself. The two-tone face in front of you is the one that was transformed into this appearance by it. Unfortunately, the young and handsome me also caught its attention. In order to prevent this guy from targeting the handsome guys who subscribe to my channel, I decided to deal with it here. But when this monster opened its mouth, it completely broke my defense. Brother, let's play a game. How about whoever speaks first loses? If you win, I'll let you go. If you lose, then I will take your body. Wow. It's been 2.5 years since my debut, and this is the first time I've encountered such a strange creature. I'm instantly interested. Playing games is fine, but can we change the rules a bit? Actually, this is also to stall for time. I just hope Professor Gao can quickly come up with a solution. Unexpectedly, this creature changes its attitude faster than turning a page in a book. It doesn't give any room for negotiation. It just opens its mouth and pounces towards me. Luckily, I have quick reflexes. I dodged multiple rounds of attacks by relying on nimble footwork. Wait, Brother Beast, I give up. I'll follow your lead. There is a significant gap in raw strength, so I can only admit defeat for now. The monster stopped attacking after hearing your words. However, it still wants you to drop the knife in your hand first. I'll do as you say, haha. I quickly threw down the kitchen knife and surrendered with my hands up. A wise man knows when to retreat. Seeing my sincere attitude, the monster also relaxed. From now on, you can't speak no matter what you see or hear. Otherwise, you lose. Hee hee. Without waiting for my response, he directly popped his big head out and quickly jumped in front of me. Then he stuck out his 1-meter-long tongue to lick me. Damn it. If an ordinary person encounters this silky little combo, they would probably be scared to death. Too bad, I'm not an ordinary person, bro. Just when this guy was about to get extremely frustrated, I decisively pulled out the pen Ghost Sister from my pocket. The unexpected happened. I stabbed its cat salon big eyes with one stroke. I took advantage of the monster's stiffness due to pain. I quickly bent down and picked up the kitchen knife on the ground. I made a sweeping motion to take out its neck. Blossoming again for the second time, all within a few seconds. Before the monster could react, its body was already separated from its head. I thought the crisis was resolved at that moment. I didn't expect that the lizard monster with only a head left would open its mouth and scream again. Damn it! Why don't you come out and help me." As soon as the voice fell, there was a sound of metal collision in the corner. I turned my head and saw two pairs of gay men, although I had anticipated that the one-armed man might be parasitized. But I didn't expect that Tong Su is also a lone wolf. I'm game over now. I have to rely on sneak attacks just to land a hit. Fighting against 4 opponents is definitely asking for trouble. I quickly analyzed the situation and chose to back down immediately. My trembling hand instinctively reached into my pocket again. Since you do not fight fair, I have no choice but to reveal my final trump card. Come out, my love. Come out, Isla Zong. I'm sorry, but it seems like you did not provide any text for translation. If you have any Chinese text you would like me to translate, please feel free to share it. Pay attention. When the male lead faced the siege of 2 pairs of human-animal combinations, he actually took out a candy from his pocket. He slowly raised the candy, and then made a move that surprised everyone. Come out, my love, accompanied by a flash of lightning and thunder. A beautiful figure unexpectedly appeared behind the male lead. The figure reached out and took the candy from the male lead's hand. She unwrapped it and directly put it into her crimson lips. Good drink, brothers, go and give it a try. Isla Zhang, relying on you. As soon as Isla Zhang appeared, I immediately issued the order. Isla Zhang, who had finished eating candy, was very obedient. Instantly switching to battle mode, she pounced on the human-beast duo. Just one glance, she made the duo spit blood from their mouths. I watched the one-sided battle scene ahead. I couldn't help but sigh. She is indeed my great wife. Now I can safely address the issue of the door. But as I turned my head, I saw the thickening mist of red mist behind me. My brows furrowed once again. Just as I was worrying, Professor Gao's call finally came through. The one who answered the phone was awakened Nan Nin. Time is running out. I went straight to the point and asked Nan Nin to quickly awaken the personality from childhood. Unexpectedly, Nan Nin looked confused after hearing this. He seems to have no idea about this matter at all. I had to recount the information I learned from the 3rd inpatient unit to him again. I'm worried it's not stimulating enough. Sent over a photo of the door again. You listen. I'm standing right outside the hospital room where your mother used to live. Think hard right now. Only you can help me. After a moment, a sigh came over the phone from Nan Nin. I can't help you. He locked himself behind the door a long time ago. He has been different from ordinary people since birth. He has also tried to change. But when his only pillar, his mother, was killed in front of him at the age of 4, he gave up on this world. He felt that our world was the truly distorted world. We never communicated until that midnight farewell, when I finally knew of his existence. After knowing the truth, I fell into silence. It seems seeking their help is a lost cause. Staring at the door just inches away, I made a bold decision. Glancing backwards, Isla Zhang, you have to hold on. I want to survive. This may be my only chance. I took a quick step and plunged into the blood. It felt just like when I was pulled in at the beginning. The resistance was strong as I passed through the mist. Everything in front of me was covered in a layer of blood red. As my strength grew, my vision gradually became clearer. Finally, with the sound of a thread breaking, I successfully entered the world inside the door. But when I saw the scene around me clearly, I couldn't help but be stunned. How come the layout inside is exactly the same as the outside? Soon I discovered the differences between the two. Inside the door, the world there. Those figurines all seem alive. Just as I was struggling with where to find little Nan Nin, suddenly my attention was drawn to a pool of blood on the ground. I saw a blood-stained hand slowly reaching out from it, which then, in a very human-like manner, pointed me in a direction. Before I could be amazed, I said thank you and headed towards the direction it pointed. Soon, I found little Nan Min in the electrotherapy room. At this moment, Nan Min's eyes were tightly closed as he lay on the hospital bed. It's unclear whether he was unconscious or just sleeping. Can't worry too much. I directly shouted loudly towards him. But my throat is almost hoarse from shouting so much, and he hasn't moved at all. I am at a loss, and don't know what to do. I simply took out a butcher knife and started threatening him. This is also a move out of helplessness. I can only hope that the killing intent on the knife can wake him up. Just at this moment, a cough suddenly came from behind. A figure in a red coat quietly appeared at the door. I picked up a female ghost with overwhelming combat power for a wife. As long as I feed her a white rabbit cream candy, she will protect my personal safety. She can not only swallow vengeful ghost alive, she can also easily handle the siege of monsters from another world. Whenever I am in a life-threatening situation, she always arrives in time. It's really reassuring. Just now, in order to completely close the door to the alternate world, I had to use the ancestral pig-slaughtering knife to awaken little Nan Min. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, the dean of the 3rd inpatient unit suddenly appeared and interrupted my spell casting. What surprised me even more was that the dean turned out to be a red robe-level vengeful ghost just like Isla Zhang. He saw me holding the ancestral pig-killing knife. The red-robed dean initially seemed quite calm and composed. He advised me that the parallel world is actually a dream of little Nan Min. Waking him up will lead to incredible things happening. But when I insisted on waking up little Nan Min to free him from this nightmare, the dean's eyes suddenly turned cold. Immediately, a strong bloody aura erupted from his body. A fierce momentum rushed forth. "Young man, mind your own business." I said it. "He cannot leave. Since you don't want to leave alone, then die here." Just as the dean in the red robe was about to launch an attack, Isla Zhang finally arrived in time. Obviously, she has dealt with the 2 monsters outside the door to come find me. She sensed the murderous intent from Dean Redrobe towards me. Isla Zhang's expression instantly turned fierce, showing extreme anger. The situation has reversed. A duel between Red Robe-level vengeful ghosts is about to officially begin. I see Isla Zhang appearing. I first breathed a sigh of relief and thanked my wife for saving the day once again. Right after that, I realized something was wrong. Since they are at the Red Robe level, I have to go help them. Unexpectedly, the next second, a hand grabbed me tightly. I turned to look. It turned out to be Nan Min, who had regained consciousness at some point. Nan Min at this moment looked extremely eerie. A pair of jet black eyes were staring at me intently. To avoid being mistaken as an enemy, I hurriedly explained that I am here to help you. I have seen photos of you and your mother. As expected, upon hearing the name, Mother Nan Min, she immediately reacted. She let go of my left hand and asked for the photo. Seeing this scene, I had to temporarily give up the idea of assisting Isla Zhang. I first asked little Nan Min how to close the portal to the other world. Unexpectedly, his answer left me greatly disappointed. He was only the first person to discover this world, and cannot completely close it. This world is a manifestation of the deepest fears and evil thoughts in human hearts. Here, although it is similar to the normal world, one is from heaven, the other is from the dark night. As Nan Min walked towards the place where Isla Zhang and the Dean were fighting, this move really surprised me. I quickly followed. As soon as I walked out of the door, I saw him absorbing the black energy gathering from the ground. I looked up and realized that Isla Zhang had already taken out the Dean. She is indeed my daughter-in-law. However, Nan Min just coldly snorted at this moment. Just as I felt guilty and was about to explain, he pointed at Isla Zhang and told her not to eat too much. He wanted her to leave some brains for him. In the end, only under my indication did Isla Zhang reluctantly leave the Dean's little brain intact. Originally, this Dean is not a good person. According to Nan Nin's memories, for years ago when the door was opened, the dean forced patients to enter for experiments, including Nan Nin's mother. So little Nan Nin also abhors him deeply. He put the head of the dean into the blood as soon as he thought about it. Then I asked about the situation of the 3 monsters I met outside the door before. Nan Nin also cooperated and answered one by one. There are 10 patients living in the 3rd inpatient unit. Those 3 guys were just parasitized by the lowest level monsters. I finally found out the identity of Two-Tone Face. Qin Xiong suffers from lateral space syndrome. As long as it is harmoniously symmetrical, it appears distorted and ugly in his eyes. No wonder he mutilated his face like that. Immediately, Nan Nin said that besides his mother, he actually didn't know much about the other patients. But there is one person who needs to be treated with special caution. It was this person who set a trap that caused little Nan Nin to fall into a deep sleep in the first place. He is from Ward 9. Fei Wu. After graduation, I inherited the adventure house left by my parents. I also managed to recruit a beautiful female employee through it, and a female ghost wife with both beauty and martial skills. But my life changed at this moment. In order to find clues about the disappearance of my parents, I entered a parallel world transformed by people's fears and wicked thoughts. The level of danger here clearly exceeds my abilities, despite being protected by Isla Zhang and Pin Ghost. Nan Nin still asked me to go back first and mentioned that the 3 patients Isla Zhang dealt with earlier were just the lowest level. He did not mention the other patients. Fei Wu, who caused him to fall into a coma, is an extremely dangerous presence. It is not so much that he is mentally ill, as it is that he is too intelligent to deign to be like ordinary people. He is the monster who actively entered the 3rd inpatient unit. Because in the other world, Nan Nin is just a personality thought, and has already merged with the 3rd inpatient unit. So those monsters are temporarily unable to deal with him. He speculated that his previous fall into a deep sleep was caused by the control of the personality outside the door. So he hopes Ryan Chen can go out and protect the outside Nan Nin. He took me to the door. Little Nan Nin reminded me once again not to underestimate the monsters from the supernatural world. He promised that if I encounter something I cannot solve, I can wait for him at the door at midnight. He can open the door for 1 minute. After a simple farewell, I crossed the passageway and returned to the real world. I immediately got excited and greeted the white tiger waiting here as soon as I came out. But the white tiger kept backing away as I approached, seeming very scared. I suddenly realized when I looked up. I saw Isla Zhang staring curiously at the little white tiger. Ahem, Isla Zhang, thank you for saving me again. I have to say, Isla Zhang is really cute and pretty in normal state. After attracting Isla Zhang's attention to myself, I explained the reasons for not helping just now. Then I praised you as being very amazing. After Isla Zhang heard it, her brows slightly furrowed. She stared at me with a sharp gaze. This is really awkward. I am a straight, single man from birth for 23 years. Although I realize I said the wrong thing, I don't know how to salvage the situation. It's tough. Normally, you should take the initiative to ask Ella Shu how to start a conversation with a girl. Isla Zhang, let's go home. Try a last-ditch effort. Isn't this how they do it in idol dramas? Finally, a system prompt sounded. Isla Zhang's affinity slightly increased. At this moment, Isla Zhang's face turned slightly red, and her figure gradually dissipated.